Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
All right, this isn't the way to do this for poor Roy, getting into the chair after 7 days off when I've missed him. He gets in the chair, and they're counting me in, 9, 8, and Roy is like, none of my shit works.
Yep, my regular headset for executive producer has died on me.
All right.
So on board
All right, so that's a good thing to learn from Robert 9 seconds before going live. Nothing can go wrong there when you're in charge.
Awesome.
It's great to see Robert scurry in and out of the room. Get total confidence when I look up and see that we're in the steady care of Roy and Jeremy as some sort of green witch situation.
I will say that Robert is a very comforting presence, though, here at Meadowlark
Calming
Media.
presence, Robert.
Yeah, no
I never
doubt
see him
about it.
panicked.
Right. Yep.
Agreed.
Never sweats.
He handled that with great grace. 9 seconds out as Roy just barked at me. And I'm getting the countdown. None of my shit works. And we're going live. Not the best way to handle all of this. We will move on nonetheless. Stugotz, we've got a bit of an issue.
Okay.
Over, as often happens, when David Sampson bounces against the things that we do here.
Mm-hmm.
Parts of our audience recoil because they don't like the corporate things that Sampson represents. And so sometimes when he comes down for the entirety of a week, onboarding him can be tricky. But this week, what we have is a genuine national baseball insider. He is a star at CBS. His baseball information is something that people go seeking because his expertise in baseball is very strong, and he talks about stuff in a way that knows the business a lot better than most people. And we've got him locked up in another room all week. And baseball's going crazy because it seems like the Yankees just spent money to win yesterday's PR with an injured pitcher because now it's just
That was a make good, yeah.
Now it's just the Yankees spending $200 million for PR even though it's a broken arm. Like, you tell me if I'm wrong, David. Can we go to David here in the other room right now, or your shit doesn't work on that either, Roy?
We are getting that set up for you right now.
All right, Robert. Calm as a cucumber.
All right.
Yep.
Robert is not in there, and nobody is ready, and that's all good work at the start of our show. Excellent. I'm glad we were all ready to do this like I asked for before the show.
A hot dog?
I don't know what he's eating. It seems like it's
It's a hot dog. Is it?
French toast sticks
doused
in syrup, maybe?
Yes. A massive bag of candy as well. I mean, what is happening?
How do you guys imagine you would eat if COVID had taken your sense of taste? Don't you all feel like you'd be eating vegetables and healthy food instead of candy and French toast? Do we all not? Do you not think if I took away your taste, would you not suddenly have a diet that was 100% clean?
But doesn't sugar still do something to your brain when you eat it, even if you can't taste it? Like, don't you get a dopamine rush or an energy rush from it? I
will have to ask him more questions about his expertise as he eats candy.
It stands to reason if all foods are tasting the same, that would be the time for a diet. Yes. I mean, it stands to. You're right.
Well,
yes.
I'm not even just saying a diet. If you tell me, as someone who struggled with his weight all his life and doesn't even understand what it is or how it is that he eats sometimes, still at 55 years old, still don't know why it is that I'll want to eat a ton of things because whatever didn't get. Food was love in my childhood. I don't know what it is.
Right.
If you told me that I lost taste, it would be a mixed blessing and curse. I would hate that I wouldn't be able to enjoy food, but it would be an instantaneous diet where I would only eat the right things, I think, for the rest of my life if I could not taste. Is that not something that goes without saying? Because I'm surprised that Samson's gone the other way on this. He's still eating junk.
Yeah, but he weighs like 84 pounds.
But he could be eating healthy things. He could be eating things that are fuel for his body, and he's still eating. And I don't understand it. It seems hugely self-destructive.
I disagree. Dan, when you're sick and you lose your sense of smell and taste, do you only eat like steamed broccoli every day? Like, to me, it seems like you would still eat the things that bring you comfort if you're sick or if you can't taste them, even if you can't taste them.
But you're basically saying that eating then becomes about it has nothing to do with taste.
That's correct. I think that's true for a lot of people. Eating is more than just taste. Eating is like coming together with your family and like making a meal and enjoying it.
Breaking bread.
I don't know. There's a lot more to eating than just like, ooh, this tastes good, I think, for a lot of people.
Do you guys enjoy eating?
Love eating.
Yeah.
I'm
Really?
doing
Yeah,
it right
absolutely.
now.
Why, you don't?
I found myself like, I don't think I enjoy eating. I think I just eat because I have to. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I'll go.
It's kind
and,
of a
like,
hassle.
I'll
I'm with
have
you,
the meal, but like a lot of times, like if it's like dinner time and like I'm feeding my kids or whatever, like I'm eating standing up and I'm just trying to like rush through
Right.
it to get to the next thing. Like there's very few times, and Dan, like I don't know if you like enjoy eating or like the practice of eating or like the taste of the food, but I'm just like, yeah, I eat because like it's a necessity. I have to have breakfast, I have to have lunch, I have to have dinner, and I do it because I have to.
3 squares. I mean, he asked you a question. He didn't ask me a question.
I don't know what your eating habits are. I found them to be vaguely disgusting. It's walking around with a piece of bacon in your hand and no plate and no napkin.
That's eating, Dan.
Over 20 years, I've seen some strange eating habits. For about 10 years, Roy straight ate from a vending machine. 10 straight years. Now, Stugotz, when I see him eating, it's usually, I saw bacon sandwiches the other day, which confused me. I didn't know there was such a thing as just a sandwich with bacon.
I don't like a bacon sandwich. I just like the bacon. But I don't need the bread with the bacon.
But I did not even know there was a bacon sandwich. I was wondering if Meadowlark is like skimping on breakfast all of a sudden because we're hard times and we're making bacon sandwiches, which seems like not a cheap sandwich, but also doesn't seem like a real sandwich.
Because Samson was coming into town, so we needed to show him that we were cost cutting wherever we could.
Yeah. So there was no cheese. There was no condiments like ketchup or anything.
I think it might have had also mayonnaise or something on it. I don't know. I couldn't tell. It had something white near it, but it struck me as odd that it would be just a bacon sandwich. But you guys are looking at me with some sort of disgust. I marvel every day. We've got a company that feeds people breakfast and lunch.
We do. It's a very nice thing. I probably look too deep into this, but I kind of make judgments about the company, Meadowlark in general, just based on the food spread. I do. It's probably unfair of me, but, when the food spread is good, I'm like, all right, we had a good week. We sold some stuff. We did something. We have some more money. And when we don't have a good spread, I start to worry and question everything that's going on around here.
Don't pat yourself on the back too hard, Dan. It's pretty common for productions to have food on standby for people because, like, the people in the control room are there for like 12 hours without a break most of the time.
Jessica, honestly, forgive me if that sounded as if I was patting myself on the back. I just remember how I couldn't get ESPN to feed our people a breakfast that was going on at the Clevelander downstairs. It's why I wrecked First Take that day. I was mad that ESPN came in and all of a sudden ESPN's dining on what should be the food for the cameramen. Like, so if ESPN's not paying people for to eat food, I didn't realize that we should all be eating during work. Do I have that wrong to be surprised by that?
I think part of it is we don't get breaks and we're just working like, 7 hours straight sometimes without like a 15 or so.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Eating's become a chore. I'm with you,
Because
Billy.
then if different people start taking lunch at different times, then it's like a situation where you can't get things done.
Jason,
so
get
it's
back
just
in
like,
the control
how
room.
do
We need to start.
Please,
That's what
let's
we
be
normally
honest.
do.
And I don't want to cause problems here.
Do you?
Jason eats more than his fair share.
Oh, no.
And Fuentes.
Heavy hand Jason has on the food. Sometimes we get out there after post game, all the food's gone, and it's like you think 4 people were working here today. Like, nah, Jason came a little early today.
He needs the protein.
The amount of days I've had where I finish writing a title or a description and I walk out looking forward to lunch and there is literally nothing left out there, but
Yep.
people have already put away their leftovers to bring home for the night for dinner. Gino Fuentes. Oh.
These are the things we have to navigate. What time Jason eats and what mood Kristen is in that day. Most days it's Mediterranean, so that's what we're eating.
Right.
Lamb chops.
Okay, I am sorry. I just saw Robert howling with laughter in the other room, and a stray shot came across my ears on a channel that no one's supposed to be in that just screamed, "Talent eats all the food." Just a stray shot, like this was on a.
That's wrong.
It's a channel. I've got a channel in my ear I've never heard before. Okay, someone who is not supposed to be talking to me during the doing of a live show when all my executive producers has broken apart isn't supposed to be a stray shot. Talent eats all the food. Now I got director Jason trying to get in there before you guys because everyone's putting it in their pockets and going home with it.
I can't believe Lewis said that to you in your ear.
He's not on that channel. This was a private channel I've never heard anybody on. I've never heard that voice accusing Talent of eating all the food. It's a voice. Is that Harry?
Harry!
With Lucy? Like, who was that? I didn't even know who that voice was that just accused Talent of eating all the food. Talent's doing a lot of work there.
Easy King Le Batard with your off-limits people who aren't allowed to talk to you.
Oh, no.
Samson is in the other room. Let's go to him and find out. First of all, have you thought about eating healthier?
No, I have not. I have thought about what it would take to not have pork in every single offering for every meal that you guys serve. I've thought about that.
Can you tell me what it is? Here I was patting myself. King Le Batard was patting himself on the back for producing breakfast and lunch, and Jessica said something that I hadn't even considered, which is production services. If you're working 6 hours a day, it's always with breakfast and lunch. Hadn't even considered it.
Yeah, when we looked at the budgets, Dan, you should know that you guys are a little skimpy on the food budget. But I will say that there is an amazing job that's done by your people to get food in. Love it. Just really attentive, but just lots of pork. So much.
But so you're saying that Meadowlark and its bacon sandwiches is producing bad food?
I'm saying I went to up the budget on that. I'm upping the budget on the food.
Okay.
I think it's important. I also am going to start secreting some away because what Jeremy said is exactly accurate. I had a late show yesterday, and when I came out, there were no more Chick-fil-A bacon burgers, and that's outrageous.
Jason.
So we will find out what's going on with Jason in a second. But
He's eating.
I am sorry that we disrespected your takes and your talent over the last couple of days because people are seeking you out for your baseball information. If you want, I am assuming nothing personal was consumed by baseball today, although he covers a lot of different stuff on his podcast. What is the most interesting stuff from baseball yesterday, David? The Yankees. I happened to be talking to you when the Yankees news came in, and you were legitimately shocked. Like you sounded like you were appalled by the idea that the Yankees would just try to buy $200 million worth of PR.
It just wasn't necessary, Dan, and I think the whole industry is less than happy about the Max Fried contract, except for Corbin Burns, of course, and Scott Boras, who are the amazing beneficiaries of this contract because Burns will get more than Fried. And what the Yankees did here, this is not how they used to be. They're being so reactive against the Mets, who are pretending that they can take over New York. They're looking at the videos of Turturro. They're actually reacting to fans and this visceral anger that's not just towards Soto, it's also toward the Yankees organization. They felt this pressure. And one day after Brian Cashman said, we're not going to be drunken sailors, he was worse than a drunken sailor. He was a blackout drunken sailor. And when that happens, nothing good happens after that. So the rule is you do not mix alcohol and Adderall. You do not mix a long-term contract after you lose another long-term contract because you lose every time.
But was Max Fried not something that the Yankees needed? Like a pitcher at that level, a left-handed pitcher in particular, the Yankees were desperate for starting pitching down the stretch.
Oh, but Jeremy, I simply assume that what Sampson is doing there is that's not worth it because it's going to get hurt. You cannot trust that body to not break down.
But
Dan,
there's
over
a
the
value in pitchers, no?
Guys, over the last 5 seasons, he leads Major League Baseball in ERA. You're acting like they signed a bad pitcher yesterday.
No.
I'm not, Stu. I'm not acting like he's a bad pitcher at all. I'm telling you that there are stats that we're given inside, and I wish that I had kept the slides. If I had known that I was going to lose my job, I may have kept all sorts of materials and walked out the door with it. But the slides that Bud Selig and Rob Manfred would put up that the union was not allowed to see, except for people scurrying out of the room to leak it to Ron Blum, if you know, you know, are all about old pitchers and how bad they are, how it never works. So for me, I know Max Fried is an 8-year deal. He's pitching at 31. He is not going to make it the full 8 years. And remember, the Yankees just signed Rodon, another lefty. And guess what? That deal hasn't worked. So it's just like they're compounding it. I don't blame the Yankees for wanting Fried, but I do say the 8 years is absurd.
I mean, we're looking at a Major League Baseball with 2 different ways to operate, right? There's the haves and the have-nots. The Yankees are one of the haves. And so if they want, with their ownership group, to spend money sort of recklessly with the idea of all we need is one World Series in this contract. We need to get to and win a World Series. We were there last year. Now we lose Juan Soto. What do we do next? Let's go acquire another arm that, if healthy, is one of the very best pitchers in Major League Baseball. They were dealing with injuries with Rodon last year. They were dealing with all sorts of injuries to their starters and their relievers. They figured out a way to get there, and their view must be Cole, Fried, Rodon, continued, is good enough to get them to where they want to be. They can spend as much money as they want. There's no cap.
Dan, I can only tell you that we need a cap.
Okay, I'm not doing this with you. I'm not going to do this with you. You don't have a cap, and so therefore more money for everybody. And Jeremy's not wrong when he says, yeah, just spill it all over the place. Who cares? It's funny money. The customers are going to get more players that they want. You're not exactly wrong. This is an ace type of pitcher, but all Sampson's doing there is saying you can't guarantee $215 million to somebody you're pretty sure is going to get hurt. Soto can also get hurt, but as a pitcher, you're pretty sure this guy's going to get hurt.
But why not? Because you're the Yankees. Every one of these teams makes at the top, has an unlimited amount of money they're allowed to spend. So realistically, who cares if it's reckless, if you're a Dodgers or a Mets or a Yankees? Because you want to win. And whatever the bottom dollar line is that you need to get that player that's going to help you be better than all of the rest of the teams in Major League Baseball, you're just going to spend it. And it's reckless in terms of, yeah, he's going to deal with injuries, and at the back end of that contract, it's going to be bad, but you're the Yankees. You can just spend more later.
They can afford to be reckless.
Right.
They can. I mean, you're right. I agree with you. And Dan's talking about the injuries with Fried. I mean, 3 of the last 4 seasons, he has started 28-plus games. I mean, I know he got hurt 2 years ago, but he's been, for the most part, he's been healthy throughout his career.
They still also have over $500 million that they didn't just give
Correct.
to Soto.
Yes.
That they can now use to
Right.
get like a Christian Walker type or something and improve first base. So like you can now spread the wealth that you're going to spend on one player to different positions, and then hopefully that will get you to where you couldn't get to last year.
Don't you assume, Sampson, that once all of this continues to escalate with the Yankees are going to get pressure to be in this game, prices are going to skyrocket everywhere, and you're going to explain to us what it means that the Dodgers have $1 billion in deferred payments, so one can assume they'll keep getting more Blake Snells too, right?
They certainly have the opportunity, but I want to remind everybody that we've been talking about this for 25 years. And 25 years, thank you for having me in this room.
Wait a minute. Why did that just happen? Hold on a second. Explain to me how we could be such an unprofessional organization. How can that just happen to top baseball CBS insider David Sampson, where you guys just have a small room? He's at the top of his profession, and you guys.
She's on the floor in the corner under the table. This is not appropriate.
You are
I
not
am saying
respecting.
My hands are right here. I did not put baby in a corner.
This is a professional environment, and you guys need to get out of the camera shot. Izzy, get the hell out of the camera shot. Everybody get your shit together. And David, baseball's finances are making it so that
Dan, she's trying to do her job. Our green room is also the makeup room because we don't have a dedicated makeup room. And Jessie is just in there. She's trying to go pick up her kid from daycare with all her makeup, and it's stuck there being held hostage by David.
by me. Jessica, this was my choice to be in here eating meat with potatoes and having candy.
Yeah.
This is really what I wanted to be doing. Well, now I'm much happier. Don't put your hand in there. Do not put your hand in there. Do not. Do it.
Okay,
Do not.
wait a minute.
We're talking about a candy bag.
You just touched your hand.
All right,
I
see,
mean,
look, now wait a minute.
Now we've had
look
enough.
at now.
Go to a commercial.
No, we're not going to commercial. But look at what just happened here, David. That is wildly inappropriate optics, unfriendly, unkind, because you're a germaphobe, and Jessie's just hungry. She's a desperate rat working in the shadows of this startup, in the startup living, and you're trying to be a professional over there. She's hiding in a corner. She comes out for her first time to frolic on camera, reaches into your bag, and you're disgusted because you won't let anyone else touch your sugar.
I have pork-infested potatoes right here if you want.
David, what is happening with the business of baseball right now?
Thank you. It'd be nice if we could talk about that for a moment, Dan.
we'll talk about it.
This is not an example where the haves and have-nots, it's just starting, Jeremy, when you were just a little pisher. This same thing was being spoken about in 2003 when the Marlins won the World Series. There was the big bad Yankees against the small market Marlins. So this is an old story. So none of this should concern anybody. Nobody's acting differently than they used to act. The numbers are just different. But in the NBA, they're different too. In the NFL, they're different. Jim Kelly never made in a career what Daniel Jones makes in a year. I mean, I don't know if that's a fact. That's reckless journalism. But let's pretend it's something close to that.
Hold on a second. I got to help
Yep,
you
just
here.
wait a
Yeah,
second.
Yeah, if
It'd
you're
be
going to
nice.
do it that poorly, like, get your shit together, man.
If I had...
Time to throw away all journalistic credibility and get reckless. Here is something we like to call reckless speculation.
You're good.
I am good. I believe that Jim Kelly was underpaid because he was old. He's old. In his whole career, his career earnings are less than Daniel Jones made in that guaranteed nightmare of a contract with the New York Giants.
He's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, my God. Think of the
Jim Kelly made
insanity.
$28 million. Daniel Jones made 36 this year.
Yeah, so the money in the sport is crazy, and more of it's going to be shared. But you saw what just happened at the bottom of the standings yesterday, right? If you are one of the people like Billy, who still has an allegiance to the Marlins, they trade their one name popular player, a guy that people actually like, one of the last embers of connection to anybody. Yeah, that guy's kind of fun. He hits giant home runs and roly-poly runs around the bases. He looks funny. I can get attached to that. And they have him for a couple of years. They make a playoffs miraculously in the middle of the pandemic. It looks like they're going to get back in the game.
Well, they made the playoffs twice. They made one in the pandemic, and they made one a year. Like not this past season, the one before.
That's correct.
He
Yes.
was also under team control, which is why this is particularly odd.
Okay, so walk us through with the former president of the Marlins how you're hurt by that Burger trade, because he was the last guy out the door who had a name that anybody connected to.
Well, I mean, they still have Sandy on the team, but we'll see how long he's still on the team. They still have Luzardo on the team, but he's been the subject of trade rumors already at the winter meetings. They still have Yuri on the team, but we'll see when he comes back from his injury and how long he's on the team. I mean, it's just kind of like the weird thing about Jake Burger is that you had him under control, but it seems as though he was not someone that fit the profile of what Peter Bendix wants this team to be. He wasn't great defensively. Offensively, he hit home runs, but that's basically all that he would do. So they sent him away, and they got 3 prospects, and now we'll see what happens, and we'll see if they can build in the draft. And, oh, by the way, they had tied for the highest odds in getting the number 1 pick yesterday in the draft lottery, and they lost the lottery, and now they're picking 7th. So we'll see what they do with the 7th pick in the draft, which is not a guarantee anyways. The problem is like you're rebuilding yet again with someone who was part of a successful organization, but you can realistically question how much of an input he had in making that organization a success, and if that is something that he can transfer down here. And so far, I mean, it's too early to tell, but it's also one of those situations where it's like, how many people do I want to give 4 years to figure out if they know what they're doing or not?
And they get rid of a lame duck manager that did his job by getting them to the playoffs. You want to parlay that into something that feels like a little bit like what Arizona was doing. You're trying to parlay successes.
You're trying to build, right?
But yesterday, while they're talking to the manager from the Dodgers, Casey McCullough, or whatever his name is, first base coach from an other organization,
I thought it was Dave Roberts.
While he's talking about Berger and what he means to the team, they trade him a couple of hours later, right? This is and as the baseball nerds laugh at you because you had the best odds for the number 1 pick and you end up at 7.
Also, like in fairness, like the manager situation, he kind of dumped them, right? Like they spun it as this was like a mutual parting of ways, but like there were reports that they tried to extend him and he turned that down and said, you know what, this is not going to work out here, and decided to leave
because it's a dumpster.
Skip decided that pretty much the moment Kim Ng wasn't brought back. He and Peter Bendix were not on the same page.
Billy, is it difficult to root for a team that's simply not trying? It seems like they're not trying most of the time. Like the Jets are frustrating, but they're frustrating for different reasons. They just don't get it right.
But it's not trying. It's not having enough money to compete in this atmosphere, combined with some incompetence.
Not true.
But that has to break you as a fan, I think, right?
It's not true, guys. I keep listening. You keep me in this corner, but you guys are talking. There's plenty of small payroll teams that make the playoffs consistently. The Rays were one of them, but look at last year. The Guardians, look at the Orioles. They went through a rebuild, and they are now a force, and their payroll is not big at all. The Royals, there is a way to do it. I wasn't that good at it, but it wasn't for lack of trying. The fact is that Skip Schumacher he never even moved his family here. He was never going to be in Miami long term. He was using it as a stepping stone, and now he's back where he wanted to be closer to his kids. That's it. Peter Bendix was hired solely to do what the Rays do. This is what the Rays do. They don't get attached to any player. So you guys better get used to it. Will he be able to succeed? We'll wait to see, but Peter Bendix has the full support of Bruce Sherman, and he's doing exactly what he was told to do, trading away 4 years of control for a guy that just hits home runs once in a while, getting back 2 good infielders with 6 years of control each, plus a starting pitcher. You can bet your bippy you're going to make that trade every day. Just tell your manager about it. That makes him look unprofessional.
Stop betting bippies.
It's the only thing I bet.
And wait to see is one of the lamest catchphrases there is anywhere in catchphrases.
Thank you for your support.
Just wait to see is useless as a take. It really is. Wait to see. Okay, thanks for nothing.
Well, we talk about putting a salary cap in baseball, but should there be a salary cap floor and make some of these low budget teams start spending more?
There'll have to be, Roy. You can't have a cap without a floor. That's the reason why there's never been a cap, is there was no way to fund the floor, because teams like the Marlins would get together and say, we'll agree to a cap, and we'd love that, but you have to give us more revenue sharing in order to make sure we can get to a floor.
Forgive me, I'm ignorant here. I really am ignorant. Didn't you get in trouble for not even making the floor with the Marlins? Didn't you get in trouble for like hiding money in the corners because when they put a floor on the Marlins, all the other teams got mad because you were taking too big a percentage or something? You know what? Hold on. I think I got some of my facts wrong here.
That's reckless.
Jeremy, hold on.
Time to throw away all journalistic credibility and get reckless.
You said him already, man.
Here is something we like to call reckless speculation.
You're good, Dan.
Yeah, what did you get in trouble for? Because you got in trouble for something.
We've never actually disclosed it, but I'm ready to disclose it right now.
Really?
Okay, Jeremy, look this up to see what we can cross-check against what the other teams were mad at you guys because you were not reaching the floor.
Stop speculating with you're just wrong. It was the union. The union filed a grievance against multiple teams. The Marlins were one of them. The grievance stated that we were not, among other teams, using our revenue-sharing proceeds to improve the team on the field. So we had a deal with the commissioner, and the deal was that we will sign, and his name was Josh Johnson. We will sign Josh Johnson to an extension because we're getting into a new stadium, and we want him to be the opening day pitcher. We'll sign it, and we will write a letter saying that we were in violation and we're curing the violation in return for the dropping of the grievance against all the teams. We went Don Baylor. We took one right on the chin for baseball and signed Josh Johnson.
And traded him a year later.
Mm-hmm.
Not a year later. That's not right, Billy. We traded him a year after the new stadium opened.
Oh.
Well, quite frankly, it seems like the Players Association could file the same grievance against the Marlins today.
They did in 2018.
Repeat offenders on this regard.
That wasn't me.
Look at him laughing.
He's so happy,
It's
so
just
pleased with
sinister.
himself. Yes.
It's just sinister. It's disgusting. You disgust me.
David, I am wondering, you mentioned documents and you regret not taking some documents with you on the way out the door. What documents do you regret not taking with you?
It's a good question.
That is, thank you, Stu. All of the stuff that we would get at owners' meetings, we and I have files of them, and I meant to take them as Jeter was walking into Marlins Park and I was walking out. So it's all of the exhibits that showed all of the players and all of the things that we have against the union and all of the nefarious things that we do. It's this smoking gun of crap, and now it's sitting in the wastebasket.
Oh.
It's very sad.
Yeah, I thought I heard David also, and I don't know if this was from you or from someone else, that you also had like a personal vault with collectibles that you did not take on the way out that remained behind. Is that so?
I don't. Where did that's yes.
He's an insider, David.
Wow,
I mean,
wow. Wait a minute. Look at what David has never been rattled, speechless, and
wow.
You have look, David thinks the greatest currency there is information. You just looked into his soul and told him something that he did not know that you knew about him, and he thinks he outsmarts everybody. You just left him speechless. He was stunned. Where'd you get this information, Billy?
Well, I'm going to tell you that.
Give his sources.
You have a safe full of curios that you left behind. Who's got them?
It would have been Jeter, and then he got fired, so now it's whoever is the new person in charge, if they can ever find it. So I'm not talking about the treasure chest that we buried underneath the foundation, Billy. And I don't know. I assume you're referring to something that I didn't think anyone knew about, which is a locked, vaulted area at Marlins Park where there's a bunch of franchise collectibles, really valuable franchise collectibles that Sherman and Jeter did not know about. They were not included in the transaction. And what happened is I left and I forgot to empty it. And then my ID didn't work, and there was nothing I could do. And so they're still there.
Maybe.
Unless you have them, Billy.
I am shocked that you left that place without money, without things that have value, and without a smoking gun. That is unlike you, David Sampson.
It was a very difficult day. I was doing the full Jesse Eisenberg from the Social Network, just pressing refresh on the computer to make sure that Sherman's $1.2 billion had cleared. That's and I'm not kidding, Stu. That's how a deal closes.
I know.
When the money hits your account from escrow, that's when I was informed and told that I would walk out of the building and Jeter would walk in. So Jeter was in the parking lot. I was in my office. And once the refresh happened and the money hit, I got up and left. And I completely was so flummoxed that I left the vault. There's really good stuff in there, Billy, from the history of the franchise that I assume could have been in my room. Darn it.
David, I cannot imagine the feeling of seeing $1.2 billion hitting a bank account. What was that moment like?
So it's not how that works. It's not $1.2 billion, actually. That's the overall value of the team. It's much less than gets transferred on closing day. So it was only about $662 million that comes in.
Poor David.
And so it wasn't my account as much as it wasn't mine. So it does feel like a relief. It doesn't feel – it's just numbers on a computer. It feels very much like a relief because the concern was that Jeter and Sherman would have realized early that they were overpaying and not close. And then we would have been totally screwed. But I would have had the stuff in the vault.
So, was that realistically a good day or a bad day for you? Because as soon as that closes, you kind of know you're probably on the way out, right?
Yeah, I knew negotiating that I was going to get fired and get to join you. What a great day, knowing that I can spend my time with you guys at Meadowlark. It's like a dream come true. For 1/10 of the salary and 20/10 of the aggravation and pork in every piece of food, it's like a dream.
Billy, you know what I'm thinking? Heist.
I like it. Yeah.
Gonna get that Jeremy Hermida ball after all.
Jessica, I would absolutely agree that we could get into Marlins Park because I know some different ways to access the building, but I would need
We'll
need
stuff
help.
you in a suitcase, like an Ocean's 11.
You guys,
fit.
you guys really want
Heavy-handed, Stugotz.
you guys really want this person accused of a second heist of Marlins baseball?
We would get away with it, Dan.
He's gotten away with it. Look at him. It's just numbers on a computer, and he's out here laughing as
Not
the face
reputationally.
as the face of corporate greed.
I don't know if this is getting away with it. He's sitting in a room. He's locked in a room on a couch with a makeup person.
He got his $1 billion, and he got out of the game, and now he hangs on to the game as an information insider, doing it in a way that's almost as fun as when he was inside the game. In fact, I would ask you that question: which is more fun? What you're presently doing right now, holding a microphone, or being the president of a Major League Baseball team, or the Marlins anyway?
It's way better to create the news than to report it.
So you had more fun as the baseball president.
I said it was way better. I have more meaningful interactions now, which I appreciate, Dan, but make no mistake, creating history one way or the other, good or bad history, is better than reporting it.
A lot of bad.
Some very good, Roy.
Some.
Anything else
One.
from baseball yesterday that people would be seeking you out on because they got a little bit of it on Nothing Personal, but you were telling me that you'd embargoed some secret baseball thoughts for just our show?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about one thing about the Max Fried deal that we did not cover on Nothing Personal, and that we saved what you call a scrap. When you are a team and you are in a position where you don't get a player, what an agent does is they call the team and say, we can solve all your problems. We can take away all the negative PR. And what the Yankees got is it wasn't even Boris, because Max Fried is represented by a company called CAA. And CAA does not normally traffic the way Boris does in terms of putting their players where it's just about money. But what Boris has done by retaking the world with the Soto deal, he has caused other agents to act more like him, not less like him. So CAA goes to the Yankees and says, we will solve your problems, but you are going to pay, and it's going to hurt. And that's the only way a deal comes together as quickly as it did, is when it's a one-way deal. The Yankees just gave in to what CAA asked for, not even believing that the Yankees would say yes to it. There was no talk of an 8th year until Soto signed, and then it happened in a day. And the only way that happens in a negotiation is when one side gives. And my God, the Yankees were bent over.
David, if you're worried about the pork at lunch, I think with that $662 million, you could probably buy a spread for everybody.
Jeremy, I was the president. I have as much equity in that team as you do in Metalark.
Well, you're right. I guess that's why we both can't pay for lunch.
And there's pork.
Hey guys, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN, that's D-A-N, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time?
If you were a thief, and I told you that you lived very close to where Joe Burrow was, and the television suggested that he was out of town, busy at a game against the Dallas Cowboys, that seems like a pretty good house to rob. I don't know if he's always got security around his house, but
He should.
If you've recently read reports that he bought a $3 million Batmobile, that seems like a pretty good house to rob if you know that he's in Dallas and not home. I'm surprised this doesn't happen more often.
Well, it has been. That's why this is a story making headlines. You make it seem like it's a coincidence that a burglar happened to be near Joe Burrow's house, but the NFL and NBA PA have apparently sent out memos to players over the last few months about a string of high-profile burglaries that have happened while players are at games.
It just happened to Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes, I believe. Yeah.
Exactly.
Bling ring.
If you guys can read about Anton Jameson, I remember talking to him many years ago about his security system at home and how often he would circle his neighborhood to make sure he was not being followed because, Yeah, if people know you have money and know where you are at all times, there are ways to take your money. But what are the details on Joe Burrow? Like what was stolen from his home? Because the other thing is, right, single athletes. If you're not married and there's not family, you're a single person and you're very wealthy, you're more likely to have an empty home, are you not?
It wasn't empty. There was a swimsuit model.
Yeah,
An
there was
employee,
someone
yeah.
there. Also, like,
That's
if you
the way
are,
I always imagine it.
if you
you
are
know?
married, wouldn't your partner be at the game that you're playing in anyways? So I don't understand.
You're just reckless.
I didn't
You
assume.
think that Joe
Play it.
Burrow
Wait,
goes to
play
work
it.
and his hypothetical wife's like, I'm going to stay home.
Wait.
I'll stay home and watch the house.
I'm reckless by assuming that Joe Burrow doesn't have a swimsuit model at home. That's what you're saying.
No, you're
I'm being
reckless for saying that a married person, their spouse would stay home while they're playing.
I'm saying I'm talking about
game.
just family in general. There is more likely than a single person. Am I wrong about that? There might be
Yes.
family at home more likely than if there were a single person.
It is okay for Dan to think that when Joe Burrow leaves the home, he's leaving his home empty. It's okay. Like, I'm with you on that. Yes, he's not married. I mean,
What is the relevance of being married and leaving your home solo?
I with David. I don't understand the distinction. Like, it's very well documented that like family members go to football games with their
I just
family
assumed
members
that
play
if a
football.
family lived in a home or a single person lived in a home, just probability by the numbers who live in the home, it's more likely that someone will be there if I'm choosing a home that has 9 people in it than if it has 1 person in it.
Well, now you're saying 9 people. You're
Well, I'm just
completely
saying I'm
moving,
making
you're
it a
completely
family.
moving the
I'm
goalposts.
making it a
Big
family.
family.
The whole
Yes,
family's going to the
7
game,
kids.
Dan.
Have
Now
you
we're
heard of
talking
living
about-
girlfriends?
Now we're
Family
talking
that
about
lived in
Philip
my
Ryan
Rivers.
Fitzpatrick's family
We're
was
not-
always at
Made
the
it-
game.
man.
We're
He
not
lived
talking
in
about
my
Philip
neighborhood.
Rivers. We're talking
Look,
about maybe a wife and 2 kids.
I'm
They're
not even
probably
going to
all
go
at the game.
Hispanic stereotype. I was actually doing Manny Ramirez in my neighborhood. He
Right.
had 9 people there. Like,
I think that there is there's less times that Joe Burrow's home alone than you'd expect.
well, clearly there was a swimsuit model there. I guess I'm supposed to be surprised there was only one.
Well, no, that's an employee of his.
That's the other little nugget about this, that it wasn't family or a girlfriend. Apparently, and we need to get some better info because I love to recklessly speculate about this situation, but I won't. A swimsuit model, not a girlfriend, not a family member, but in his home during a game. Do we have a thought? Was she hired to do that? Is she being paid? And if she's being paid, to do what exactly?
You have a lot of questions. I just want to know why his house was burgled, how it was burgled, and how many other burglaries there are happening.
potential inside job. What do you think?
I'm just saying that Joe Burrow is not aware of what was stolen yet. So he couldn't even tell us because he had to go home first and take a look. Why couldn't he call the swimsuit model
Well, she
and say,
apparently
can we
sh-
FaceTime?
Apparently, she called 911 and no.
She called her mom. Her mom
Oh, that's
called
right.
911.
That's right. She called her mom.
Another
I
weird
did
one.
read that. I feel
Start
like
looking into her. I
If
mean.
you're not sure if you're being robbed, you probably would call someone first and be like, "Should I call 911?" Personally, I would just call 911
Immediately.
But I could see being like, "I don't know what to do. Like, maybe I'm hearing things. Can you talk me through this?" if you're
Actually,
scared.
what I read is that there was broken glass.
Yes, a shattered window.
That's 911 time, not mommy time.
Can you guys tell me why it is that Jessica is the only one amongst us watching Hard Knocks? I remember a time, a glorious time in the history of Hard Knocks, where football fans were so enthusiastic about getting just a little bit of access that it would be operatic. When Hard Knocks would arrive with your team, teams would object. I don't want my privacy invaded like that. And football would grow, giving you a really packaged product about the insides of your team. None of the teams wanted to do it. Fans love the access of it. Why is Jessica the only one around here who cares at all about watching what I'd assume would be interesting Hard Knocks?
I can only speak for myself, of course, but Hard Knocks was something that got me excited for the football season. Once I'm inside the football season, I don't need Hard Knocks anymore. I'm already excited. Like, football's here. I'm in the midst of it. I'm in the middle of it. And so I think Hard Knocks, they're doing too many, to be honest with
It's
you.
also, it's the third Hard Knocks since like June.
Right.
And our viewing habits have changed. Like, I'll watch Hard Knocks when I can watch like 4 of them back to back.
You guys are wrong. It's because the Steelers are in it and they're winning a lot of games. That's the only reason I'm watching it. And it's awesome. Tomlin looks great. The team is fun. I'm enjoying every second of it. It has been delightful last 2 episodes. And you know who hasn't been in it? The Ravens have barely been in this season because they were on a bye week, and then they played the Eagles the first week, so there wasn't a lot because it wasn't a divisional game. So I have to watch the Ravens. I'm just watching Steelers, and I'm injecting it straight into my veins every Tuesday night.
What is the turnaround, the editing time? Because this is pretty different than the franchise that they did with baseball. Right. Are they filming and then releasing within a week?
Within a day. The Monday night game was part of this week's episode. Wow. The Bengals-Cowboys game.
They must be working 3 shifts.
Well, what they're doing is really ambitious in the content age, as everyone has seen what access gets you nowadays. The fact that they're mass-producing Hard Knocks while Bryant Gumbel goes off the air after 29 years is a suspicious number if he was getting his own way. I don't think that 29 years is the way that Bryant Gumbel's career should end. I think he should get
a round number.
He should get the 30 that he might probably want as opposed to the 29. But costs are being cut everywhere except around football. That business is booming everywhere. And the content football business, whether Stugotz, you're in on Hard Knocks or not, a winner with the mythology coach who has 18 straight winning seasons and none of us understand how he's winning, with the discard that Sean Payton couldn't do anything with in Denver and didn't have a quarterback last year. And so how did he fix it? He went and got 2, and now he never loses, and he's a leader of men, but I don't trust him to win in the playoffs because I don't think his team is quite good enough, even though his defense clearly is. His defense is clearly good enough. For Jessica to be eating that up on Hard Knocks because she's getting what is close to the most unprecedented inside access to Steelers football you've ever had, correct?
I mean, I can't believe the Steelers. There were videos where it did not look like Mike Tomlin wanted to be a part of it. He was like, "Get this mic off me!" Like behind the scenes videos.
Yeah.
But he's doing the interviews and he's sitting down and talking to the cameras. Like, I think maybe secretly deep down he likes it. But yeah, it is strange to see the Steelers on Hard Knocks because they are a team that you would never, ever, ever expect to be on training camp Hard Knocks because they always are in the playoffs and they're always winning games. And they're a team that, like the Giants, they don't want the cameras in the building. Now, the Giants eventually relented with their offseason Hard Knocks season, which I think there's been some criticisms of now, especially the way their season has gone. But I actually really like that show, too. The only Hard Knocks I haven't liked this year is the Bears one because it was so boring. It was just dry and just there was nothing.
No one is consuming Hard Knocks around here like you are.
That's true. Eberflus. Yeah, he got me with the beard for a minute. I was like, he's going to make it through the season because of the rebrand. I was wrong. Without the beard, I don't think he even makes it to week 4. I think the beard got him to Thanksgiving. But I thought the beard would get him to January. I did.
I want to play again today the game that we started yesterday with Is He Human? But I also want to ask questions of a colleague here because I don't know if some of us know something about Roy that seems to really delight Billy. I don't know if the rest of us, I don't know what you guys imagine. When Roy goes on vacation, I told Roy, I'm like, it's an odd time to go on vacation in December. And he's like, yes, it's part of Princess Claire's birthday week celebration. And then I learned something that I did not know and I did not have on my bingo card as someone who thought he knew Roy. Billy is delighted to learn that Roy is a big cruise guy.
Mm-hmm. Big cruise guy, Roy.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
The 3-dayer?
It was from Thursday to Monday morning.
Oh,
wow.
4-dayer.
Wow. Longer one. That's fun. I came in and there was like Roy was on vacation. I think he was because like scheduling here, like sometimes I don't see people for like 2 weeks and I just assume it was the scheduling, so I didn't know where Roy was.
Right.
So Roy was like, I was on vacation, I was on a cruise, and I was like, oh cool, like awesome. Where'd you go? He goes, I don't know. And I'm like, how is that even possible? He's like, got on the boat. They told me to go on the boat. I got on the boat. I rode the boat around. I don't know where we got off. Well,
it's a ship.
Now Roy said boat.
Well, interchangeable.
No.
What do you
Two
know?
different words. Boat and ship are 2 different words.
All right, fine. The vessel. How about that? Is that better?
Well, I was excited because the happiest I've ever seen Roy was when we were in the Bahamas together. When we went there was like a 790 event at the Atlantis in the Bahamas, and me and Roy were roomies.
Yes.
Yeah, so we were there. It's the only time I've ever seen Roy wearing shorts.
We went on the lazy river together.
We went on the lazy river with Roy.
Roy loved it. He was so good on the lazy river.
Then we had a
No one lets the lazy river take you where the lazy river takes you better than Roy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fantastic.
Then we had like a weird situation where we were like, there was like the Cove or whatever, like the VIP section, and that's where we saw, who was that we saw there? From the Falcons.
Julio Jones.
Yes, I was spying on him.
Yeah, we were spying on Julio Jones because he
so
just got
strange.
injured. It was a really strange, honestly, like 24 hours because me and Roy were excluded from the trip, but then we were brought along. So we flew out, and then we flew back out the next day. We were in a room. We shared the room together. We weren't supposed to be in the Cove, but it was one of those things of act like you belong, and we had like a key. Then we just flashed them someone else's room key. But that's not how you're supposed to get in there. It's like a private situation. So then Roy got caught because he didn't play it cool enough. And then there was like this whole hubbub that was caused, and it became a principal thing. So Dan had to add Roy to Dan's room at a cost. And by the way, there was like 2 hours of sunlight left, so I don't think Roy ever ended up going to the Cove, but it just became a thing with the security guard not letting Roy in. It was a whole thing. The point is, it's the happiest I've ever seen Roy, and I saw him in shorts, so I figured Cruise Roy was the same thing, so I was asking all these great details of like, where'd you go? How was it? How was the cruise? How'd you go? Who'd you go with? He's like, I don't know. For everything. He didn't know anything about this cruise.
Did you ask him about the drink package?
No, didn't get. I'm dry right now, so no drink package for me.
Thank you.
That's a harder way to do the cruise.
Wow.
It sure is.
It's also rough waters now. A December cruise in the Caribbean is not fun.
Oh yeah, it was very choppy. Very choppy. The boat was definitely rocking.
You should have come to me before Claire was born. I could have told you when to have her be born, and then you know when to do the birthday cruise.
I wish I did.
Like right before?
Yeah.
Like
right
10
before.
seconds before?
No, I get like
no.
9-month notice. Like not a good time.
What do
for
you
birthday
guys
cruises.
imagine cruise ship Roy is? Is he is he playing any of the games? Is he?
Well, he's not drinking, so that's a bad start.
Is he gambling? Is he doing the buffet? Is he hitting the buffet extra hard? Like, what do you? Is he whirlpooling it? Like, what are you imagining cruise ship Roy is?
Well, here's the problem. We can only imagine, right? Because like we've gotten to the point that he wants to give us so few details, he won't even tell us where the cruise went and pretends as though he doesn't know where the stops
I don't
were.
think he knows. I think he never got off the boat. He wasn't that interested in whatever it was, 8 hours in the Bahamas, and he's like, I just stayed on the ship.
I think when you go on a cruise, the cruise ship is your destination. I mean, I never get off the cruise ship.
No, there's
ever.
Roy, did you get off the cruise ship?
I did.
island?
Apparently, yeah, it was on island. It was a city called Labadee.
Oh.
Haiti. You went to Haiti.
Okay.
Hey, well, how about that?
Labadee, yeah.
Yeah, okay, we went to Haiti.
No
apparently.
idea where
don't know
he
what
gets
you-
on a
you have to
ship
take a
with no
passport.
idea
You don't know where
where
you're
he's
going?
going.
Yeah, I had a passport. Yeah, I had no. Listen, my family booked a trip, and I walked on the boat. That's pretty much it.
Ship.
So you followed. All you did was your vacation was to follow your wife and child to parts unknown on a ship you're still calling a boat.
That's right.
Because you know nothing about what you just did. You went and saw the world and returned with no knowledge.
That's right. That's exactly what.
Well,
I
no,
did.
he could tell us how great a place of the world was. And we're like, what place? I was like, I don't know. The place my ship took me.
A whole bunch of tourists.
What if you were taken? You had one call. You call me. You're like, Billy, I've been taken. Come find me. I'm like, where are you? You're like, cruise ship.
You have him using his call on you?
I could find him.
Drop a pin. It's not hard
I already
anymore.
found the cruise itinerary.
Oh,
Looks
where
like
else?
a-
nice.
Looks like a nice 4-day. You're 1 day at sea, 1 day at Labadee, and then 1 day at sea, and then you come back, right?
Yes, that's what happened. Yeah,
Little shuffleboard?
you know about this more than I do.
Royal Caribbean.
Can you give me some
wish.
information on
You
some
didn't
of
play?
the activities that Roy did or
Roy,
didn't
do you have a little
partake
hat
in?
with like a solo umbrella just for your head on top?
No, I did see a captain's hat in the gift shop that I wanted to get, but Anita didn't want me to buy it. So
Oh.
Well, and that's
So the
the way.
highlight of the trip is you saw a hat.
Yeah,
that
he
you
saw a
liked?
hat. That's it.
That's
the
one
highlight
of,
of
yes.
Roy's trip is he saw a hat he was not allowed to buy. He looked at it with great longing, and then he went and had a sad piece of cruise ship pizza.
What about the nighttime events? There's entertainment every night.
He wasn't
did not go.
drinking. I
You
mean,
did none of it?
You didn't go to the shows?
Roy was the entertainment.
Roy, what were you doing on
Did
this
you host
cruise
a live
ship?
podcast for everyone and talk about the Panthers?
Having
a
that
bad
would've been
time.
awesome.
that would have been awesome, but I did not. No.
Did Dwork go?
No, he did not. He was working.
On the cruise with you.
no,
This
no.
sounds terrible.
Well, it wasn't terrible. I mean, I spent a majority of the time sitting on the balcony watching water.
Oh, you got a balcony. All
yeah,
right.
a balcony. So
Okay.
It's very relaxing.
Did you get one of the animals made out of the towel or whatever? In
Yes,
your
I
room?
did. I think we
which
got two.
animal?
We got two of them.
What was it?
I didn't really look at it. Claire had it most of the time, but I didn't really look
It's
at
like
it.
an
I think it
elephant.
was- no, it may have been
This
a
is
rabbit.
impossible.
It may have been a rabbit. Listen,
How do you
did
not remember? It was
Did
like
you get
4
hit in the
nights
head?
ago.
Like,
because
what's
I'm
going
old.
on
That's
here?
why I'm getting old. I'm starting to
You're
forget
not
stuff.
that old.
I'm not that young.
That's not true.
Roy, it is breathtaking that you just returned from a vacation from which you have no remembered details.
now-
You were sober the whole time.
You
All right.
don't know what city you went to. You don't know. You just saw a vast, sprawling ocean, which looks the same in every direction.
Very peaceful, though.
Very
I
peaceful.
believe that I have tracked down the ship that he was on because I found a ship with this itinerary. Did you go on the flow rider on the back of the ship?
No.
The simulated surfing thing. You didn't do that.
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you go to Splashway Bay?
Claire went to Splashway Bay.
Okay,
Claire.
great. Did
Yeah.
you do the rock wall?
No, Anit did the rock roll.
Okay. Did you watch? You didn't watch Grease, obviously, which is
Hell
being
no.
performed on this ship. Okay.
Absolutely
Did
not.
you do anything?
What did you do while they were doing this?
I was watching Claire to make sure she didn't get kidnapped. That's one.
Good dad.
And
Well-
They can only take you so many places in the middle of the ocean.
yeah, that's true. And then the buffet.
All right.
Did you overeat?
I did.
Did
it
you
on
go to
the
the
poll.
casino?
Put it on the poll, please.
Stop by it. I didn't play
You walked through.
At Le Batard
because
Show.
I lost.
Do you overeat on the cruise ship buffet? Does everyone overeat on the cruise ship buffet? What you've just described, Roy, is you go from the furnace of whatever it is that working for this place has been, and you go toward the ocean, and you sit on a balcony, and you unplug your cord from the wall, and you power down for 4 days staring at the ocean.
I guarantee you, if I look, he was tweeting.
Absolutely.
You got the internet package.
I got the internet
You
package.
didn't unwind
Yes.
whatsoever.
No. I checked the phone from time to time.
Did you go on the water slides?
No, Claire did. I
You
did
were
not go on
watching hockey the entire time you were in the room, were you not?
I wish I was watching hockey. I wasn't able to watch any. I watched the Dolphins game at the bar, and that was it.
So you didn't get sports, you didn't get gambling, you didn't get drink.
A
There's
bar he
ice
wasn't
skating.
drinking yet.
Did you guys ice skate?
Yes, we did. We
There's
did. We
ice
did.
skating
You
on
ice
the
skated.
boat?
There it is. Finally, we have found something.
you checking
Thank
people
you,
into the
Roy.
glass
It's
like
always
hockey?
good to volunteer none of this and make us interrogate you to get it out of you
For
by
5 minutes.
By crowbar out of your mouth. It's good that you volunteer none of it. You don't remember anything, but now we've sparked a memory. Yes, we ice skated.
If he was taken, he'd be returned. It'd be like, this is way too frustrating. Can't get anything out of this guy.
Exactly.
Did
That's
you
the
get
part of
off-
my evil master plan.
Did you get off the boat when you got to Labadee?
Yes. We walked
What-
around the island.
And you walked around?
Nice.
Yes. And
Nice.
I sat on a beach chair the entire time.
Okay. That sounds nice. Did you take any seashells or?
Claire took one seashell. That was it.
By the
You can't do
seashore.
that? Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you know what?
It's
I'm-
not
no,
great.
What are
no,
you
no,
doing?
You know what?
What
gonna
happened there?
Me?
Major penalty, 5 minutes, screaming comedy.
By the seashore, seashell by the seashore. Get out of here. That's not a helpful addition to what it is that we were doing on the show. It's not a funny joke. It's not clever. It's lazy. And you were somehow worse than us having to interrogate Roy for 5 minutes to extract from him, like archaeologists, that he went ice skating on a cruise ship.
Content, Dan.
Did you
it's
zip line?
It's part of the game with Roy.
I have here a highlight from Roy's cruise. This is from his Twitter account on December 9th. He retweeted this tweet on December 9th while he was in Labadee, Haiti, or on his way back from Labadee, Haiti. It was a tweet from someone named Mark Lazarus, and it just says, 44 years on this planet, and I never realized that the, quote, New York and Rangers are in all different fonts. That's insane.
On the logo.
Why would someone do something like
Wait,
that?
it is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what he.
Yes.
What?
That's what he did while he was on his cruise. He was retweeting.
Well, that would have stopped me in my tracks too. Now I have to Google it.
Yeah, pull up the logo.
I'm pretty certain that guy runs NBC Sports.
No,
What?
he's
No,
the
no.
Blackhawks beat reporter for the
Oh,
Athletic,
okay.
right, Roy?
And here's,
Correct.
Here's Zendaya in a giant hat. That
Wrong
you retweeted.
Lazarus.
This is what you were doing from your balcony.
He
on the
was
cruise.
risen from the dead, Stugotz. Come on.
Bible joke. That's good.
Jeremy, please go to the other room. It is time for your victory lap. I don't know what it is that the victory lap is about, but we'll get to it in a second. Also, do we know if Genesis has arrived? I will say, you know that I don't do advertising around here, but if I were to advertise how you fix your body late in life so it doesn't have a great deal of pain, I would advise a lot of Genesis in your life or a lot of her mentor, Al. So some of the people around here are going to take a mashing today to see if we can get some of the stress out of their body. But, Billy, can you help me do some work here on Stugotz emotionally? I can rarely convince him to do anything that he needs to do for himself so that he takes care of himself. He tends to rebuff me. And I think because he's been walking crooked lately that he needs an hour of Genesis, but I think he's also afraid of Genesis, that her healing hurts so much that he doesn't want to do a thing that would be better for him because the drives and the travel are taking a lot out of him.
I may not be your man for this job because I also have avoided Genesis for about 3 years now because I'm afraid.
I'm terrified.
It hurts. It hurts, and I'm always afraid someone's going to sneak one past the goalie when she's standing on me. You know what I mean?
No.
Like a fart is going to come out or something else is going to come out.
That's
Pushes
not what I
down
thought
so
that meant.
hard.
Wait, what did you think of that?
Don't worry about it.
Oh.
Jessica, but you would not say the same things they say. You would say that it is rough and rugged, but also you understand that the pain is the healing in
It's
it,
so
right?
good, Dan.
Yeah,
Oh, my God.
Right?
Oh, it's the best. I
But
can't
Dan,
wait.
I've gotten so many massages in my life, and usually like 5 minutes in, the masseuse says, "Hey, how's the pressure?"
Yeah.
Genesis doesn't do that.
Doesn't
and if
care.
she does do it, and you say, "Hey, lay off a little bit," she cranks it up. I'm terrified of her.
And
I got to be
Stugotz
honest.
is getting older. His bones are getting more brittle. Like, we need to be careful.
Well, you say this, but I would say because, okay, so I would sound a bit like a lunatic here, but when you endure whatever the pain is of that, it is your body healing itself because she will make you more limber, more flexible, and you'll stop walking crooked. Like the pain is the thing that you need in order to get better here. Right. But Jessica, you like the pain in here, and is she here? Because I am overdue here on needing some of your college football takes because I'm tired of Mike Ryan's college football takes, and you don't agree with Mike Ryan's college football takes. So I'm thinking of merging both of those things. You get mashed, but you also give us your hottest takes. But you don't view this as pain that makes you yelp, right? Because I just did this morning with her mentor, Al, and I'm screaming.
This morning?
I'm screaming.
When you came to work, you don't feel like you're liquid right now? Because afterwards, I generally feel like I'm liquid. I have to go lay down.
I hurt at 6 o'clock in the morning in a way that woke up my wife because I was screaming because he was on a part of my body with his knee and all his body weight. But yes, I feel physically better today.
But I have used Al as well, and Al is fantastic. He really is. But when I tell him to lighten up on the pressure, he lightens up on the pressure. Genesis, not so much.
I've never done it before because I'm petrified. Like
guys are
I'm way too scared. Well, everybody comes out of there
It's
saying
a
that they
sports
feel
massage.
like liquid.
Oh my
and
God.
I don't know. My back is very
Didn't
sensitive.
you play sports?
Yeah, but I clearly don't anymore. I'm in a green witch costume.
Wow.
That is true.
Samson, you would not allow somebody to touch you this way. You don't like a massage, correct? You wouldn't
A
like
foot massage?
No, any kind of massage.
Massage my foot.
Would you be here for any kind of massage?
There's certain massages I like.
Okay, but a professional massage in a
David,
professional
name one.
environment. Well, he did already.
I mean, come on, man. You know what he's talking about.
No, the answer is I was surrounded by people who did sports massages. As a marathon runner, you're supposed to get deep tissue, and I do not allow that. I don't want the pain. I'd rather I roll myself out.
The pain of that.
That hurts too.
That is also painful.
But it's when you self-inflict the pain, it's easier because you have the threshold. But rollers do hurt. But yeah, I roll my calves and I roll my thighs and my back. But yeah, it can hurt. But I don't let someone else do that.
It's because you don't want somebody touching you that way, correct? These people use their feet, their elbows, their knees. You would never allow any of that, right? No. I wanted to ask you guys a question about this in this realm. This is a serious question. Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Should you get a full refund if during your entire 90-minute massage, the masseuse has the hiccups?
Yes.
The entire 90-minute massage.
Did Al have the hiccups?
No, this was something else.
That
This
sounds
was
like
a
a
different
nightmare.
No one has the hiccups for 90
90
minutes.
minutes.
I've had the hiccups for 90
For
minutes
90
before.
minutes?
90
Yes.
minutes?
A long time.
Yes. It almost happened last night as I was going to bed. I got the You guys have heard me get the hiccups before, haven't you? There was like a whole day where I had the hiccups for like 3 hours, and I had to record like multiple podcasts while I had the hiccups.
You have no tricks?
No.
Everyone's got tricks.
Sometimes they don't work.
But I gave you one. Hold your breath, swallow 3 times, remember? Like, it worked, didn't it?
I don't remember.
I think it worked. Yes, towards the end of the show, it worked.
And the scare
yes.
ones do. You
Right?
can scare people. You could just go and blowing smoke in someone's mouth.
Oh, really? I
That
could
is
do
a
that.
thing.
Yes.
Don't do that
Yes.
to me.
I'm an expert at that. But to answer Dan's question, do we deserve a full refund if they're hiccuping the entire time? And
What?
yes, I'm there to relax. I'm not there.
I found it wildly distracting. Like wildly distracting.
Of course. I mean, they're making a sound every 5 seconds.
Well, it made me want to stop 5 minutes into the massage because the hiccups were not stopping and did not stop for 90 minutes. And so I'm asking you guys if I deserve, because I didn't ask for a discount or a refund, but I felt like that was not in any way what I was signing up for.
I think sneezing and sniffles are worse than hiccups.
Done a
Then
massage?
you wonder, is that oil or is that mucus?
Is it a constant sneezing, though? I mean,
No one sneezes for 90 minutes, but one sneeze is refund worthy. 5 minutes
What?
of hiccups
One
is not.
sneeze?
If someone would sneeze in my presence,
Right.
and you'd feel the things.
Now you're saying you're getting sneezed
That's
on.
different.
Yes, not one sneeze into your elbow like an appropriate person.
He's
I
talking
s-
about a sneeze with the shrapnel that comes, the snot shrapnel that
Right.
comes with the sneeze.
That's
Yeah,
a refund.
I don't want snot shrapnel on me, generally speaking, either. So, yeah, okay.
That's
Maybe
a full
we agree.
refund.
What if the masseuse is a funny guy that does the sneeze but then sprays you with the spray thing, goes, chew, and then a little spray and it's not real snot. But you don't know because you're looking at the floor.
No tip.
Have you
Or
ever
he's,
fallen
like,
asleep?
or he's like, ooh, I'm going to get this knot out. And then he starts pulling it, and it's like a scarf, and then it's another scarf coming out of your back.
Ooh, clown masseuses would be great.
That's a great idea. Business model.
I'm going to pitch this to
Samson, can you
Genesis.
invest?
Why do you think that's a great idea, clown masseuses? Samson, you're not
Scary.
afraid of
Just
clowns,
too
are
fun
you?
now.
You're afraid. You're not afraid of
he's
clowns.
Billy. I mean,
So you think it's a good business? Billy's business ideas are something you always want to support. There, I'm still waiting for that Moss Miami at the last remaining Kmart to come together.
I'm ready whenever you guys are. You
He's
guys
on
are the
it.
ones that won't do it.
Yeah.
I'm the idea man. You
You
guys are the
guys.
money men.
Let me,
You're definitely
just-
not the idea man. I bring the ideas here. Just fund these ideas. I'm telling you, that Kmart Moss would be incredible.
I'm going to just realign your nose real quick. Ah! Got a quarter. Clown masseuse.
I fell asleep in a massage and I started snoring. Is that rude? Because I feel like that's more of a compliment to the masseuse. Like they had me so comfortable that they put me to sleep.
If
It is
I
a
were them, I would
compliment.
just stop doing it.
Well, it was a couples
Right.
massage, so my wife was there. So then she also had to deal with like the
ruined her
embarrassment of
massage.
I fell asleep and I was snoring. So she's getting a massage while I'm getting a massage, and the three of them are dealing with me snoring while the massage is going on.
That's a
That's
compliment,
refund
man.
worthy right there.
What?
If you are getting a massage next to your significant other who's snoring,
Yeah.
don't get a couple's
What's the
massage.
refund? What do you mean? What is
Her
the
massage got ruined.
yes.
I want to.
His wife should get the refund.
I like the idea of just getting free couples massages forever because I just keep falling asleep and snoring, and she gets a refund
You
on.
game the system.
You guys,
These
though,
clowns are never going to see it coming.
you skipped right past Jessica's thievery of you fall asleep during a massage Jessica's giving and start snoring. You're going to wake up and she's going to be eating a sandwich nearby when you wake up because she's just going to stop working. I'm not going to work if you're asleep, even though the job is to work. I'm going to wake up and my masseuse is going to be doing something else other than her job because Jessica's a thief as a masseuse, which is worse than a clown as a masseuse.
If I'm a masseuse, I have to take my breaks where I can get them and rest my hands. You know, you're using your hands all day. If my client falls asleep, I'm monitoring the breathing situation. As soon as he snorts himself awake, I'm going to go right back in there and pretend like I've been massaging
just
the whole
like
time.
barely touch, just like do like this, and then like if the person wakes up, they think like, oh, this is just like
Exactly.
the lull in the massage.
We would all do it.
Masseuses are very routined. So sleep or no sleep, arm and then arm.
Very
and then
disciplined,
down.
yes.
It's a whole thing. They do the same thing whether you're awake, asleep. Once in a while, it's the whisper, how's the pressure?
Yeah.
They do that.
Except
I'm-
Genesis.
I'm
yeah.
skipping the arms if you're sleeping. I'm not doing your arms if you're asleep.
No, but I'm
Do
saying
your own
that as a
arms.
professional masseuse, you would just do it as a matter of
Nah.
course.
Taking a break. It's sandwich time. I got to restock the gunpowder in my trick handshake, so I'm taking a break really quick. I'm the clown masseuse.
I got you smoking a cigarette in the corner of the spa and eating a sandwich. Even though why would you be smoking a cigarette? You wake up the person who's snoring because you're having a heater in the corner.
That's a candle, Dan.
an ash, the ash-scented candle in the corner of the spa. Why is there a clown masseuse, though? Why do you think this is a good idea, Billy? Because I will tell the audience, we have not celebrated around here, okay, in the gambling corners of the universe where people are making you money because they got inside information. Billy is better at gambling on football than anyone DraftKings has ever known in an area of expertise.
Except Stu.
Yeah. Stu is very close, and Stu is jealous of Billy.
Very jealous.
Stugotz is furious that Billy's a little better because Stugotz is having the season of a lifetime on God Bless Football, but Billy's been better. Billy keeps hitting on three-team parlays, three-leg parlays. He hits in the first half. Billy's what's your record this season on God Bless Football against the spread, Billy?
41-17.
Whoa,
that's
really
better.
But the problem is, and I will say this because you keep wanting to bring it up and talk about it. I don't like talking about it because I have felt the tension with Stugotz because Stugotz is not comfortable when we discuss this, so I don't want to discuss it.
I mean, I thank you because you gave me a 3-0 back-to-back weeks. I believe you gave me 2 3-0s, and one of those games I got to go to sleep by halftime, so I was fine with that. But I am trying to support you, and we're making a big deal about your record. I, too, have a fantastic record, and I haven't heard a peep from you, Billy Gill, about my record.
I haven't said I'm not pushing to promote this record.
I understand.
I'm just going out there and I'm giving you 3 picks at a time every Monday, and then when we do special events on Sundays, I'll do those.
I start a season going 0 for 18, and we do a 30 for 30 on it. I have a season right now at 61, 38, and 2, and no one says a word. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Let's celebrate
not you, Billy.
Stugotz. Stugotz wants to celebrate.
I'm
Let's
okay.
celebrate Stugotz.
I'd rather celebrate you.
He also changes the line for every game.
I do. Well, I buy down half.
Do you buy halves? Are you that guy?
I am that guy.
Do you do it after
I'll buy
the
a
final
full point.
score?
I don't care.
Some people have accused Stugotz of finagling some lines. His record it's got some accounting. It's not notarized by an accounting firm.
Right. Those 38 losses, David, feel like 75 losses.
Well,
they are 75.
Well, they might be, but one of the things that happens with Billy, this is the case with both Billy and Juju. They care deeply, so they are actually pouring themselves into looking where the advantages might be. But so are the gambling people, and they're not doing as well as Billy Gill is, and neither is Stugotz. And, of course, we celebrate when Stugotz in 30 for 30 style starts a season 0 for 18, because do you have any earthly idea how hard it is to start a season with your public picks going 0 and 18? It'd be as hard as going 18 and 0.
What if I told you that the pursuit of perfection isn't always a good thing? That 0 for 14 on your gambling picks isn't just possible, but will likely have real-life consequences. That my picks are for entertainment purposes only. That I gave you a sly wink and air quotes when I said that thing about my picks being for entertainment purposes only. That I've run into some pretty rough people you don't want to owe money to. That I've just taken out a 3rd mortgage. That my daughters are going to have to make new friends in public school. That I know way too much about the University of Hawaii's football team because I'm always up late chasing. That my wife is probably leaving me and taking the kids. That if someone you never met before starts asking you questions about where I've been, tell them you haven't seen me in a while and immediately text me so I can get on the next flight to El Salvador. That I know it's been a rough couple of weeks, but I've got a great feeling about the Titans plus 6.5 on Sunday. ESPN Films presents a 30 for 30 about one man's fight to keep both his kneecaps.
Did we do multiple 30 for 30s on this? Because it deserves it. Starting 0 and 14.
Yeah. We did, because I went 0 and 14 one year, and I think 2 years later went 0 and 16 during bowl season.
Where was the 0 and 18 from?
I think he did twice. I'm sorry. I think I got it wrong on 0 and 18. It was 2 different ones that I've confused. One was 0 and 14 and one was 0 and 16. It did happen twice. I think, Roy, if you keep searching our library,
you'll find it.
You'll find another one because it did happen twice.
That's more impressive than what Billy's doing.
Yes.
To do that twice? That's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Well, how about Billy pick games instead of these prop things, okay? I don't like prop bets. Like something against the spread, man. That's how I do it. I pick a game, pick a side.
That's another segment.
Oh.
That one, I had those
Tight end
cats last week
catches.
with the dogs, and then I told you the Panthers were going to cover that spread
You
last
did.
week. No one believed that.
You actually did. I took it.
Stugotz has been making
only
a
bets the
killing.
winners.
Well, Stugotz has been betting Billy's bets the last three he's made because Billy's gone 8-1 over the last three bets he's made.
I had an awkward conversation, David, where this isn't how we're supposed to be doing it at all. But I told Stugotz, I go, you know what, Stugotz, I'm going to pick games to lose on purpose next week, just so that you feel like just for your ego, I'm going to pick losers just for you. What's the worst bet I can make?
What's up, everybody? It's Mike, and it's the holiday season. And the holiday season means family gatherings. You're going to be hosting your family, opening up your doors to, let's face it, potentially some problems. There's always family disagreements and things up for debate. Well, let me tell you something that's not up for debate. The great taste of Miller Lite. In these polarizing times, it's good to have something that we can find general consensus on, and that is that beautiful white can, Miller Lite. Is awesome. It makes any time a Miller time, and it's got tastes that you know that you can depend on. A beer that is brewed for people who actually like the taste of beer. And let's not forget, simple ingredients and the fact that Miller Lite is only 96 calories, folks. That's right, and just 3.2 grams per 12 ounces. Making memories at year-end gatherings, I ask you? Well, make those memories taste like Miller time. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan and find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere that they sell beer. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
The only thing worse than staring at Adnan in the Zoom with the red carpeting and the red wall is knowing that if I had been kept waiting as long as we just kept Adnan waiting, I would have hung up. And Adnan, to me, looks desperate.
He looks angry, and he has every reason to be angry. I've never seen Adnan angry, though. That's the problem. So I don't know what it looks like, but I felt like I just saw it. I mean...
You're in a Dallas hotel room, aren't you, Adnan?
How do you know that?
Listen, one thing David Sampson knows, with all the travel he's done, he knows his winter meetings. I'm actually at the Hilton in downtown Dallas. David's absolutely right. I wish Sampson was here, Stu. I'd be kissing his keister like everyone does. It's a big schmooze fest. Every single person you see, quick hug, handshake, how you been, how's the family? You try to pump them for information, you go on your way. It's amazing. I'm terrible at it. I know David would be great at it, and Stu, you'd be amazing at it too. I'm atrocious. I'm in a room right now with a red backdrop, and as David pointed out, waiting 11 minutes to come on here and talk to you guys.
You don't have to get the entire segment in 30 seconds. Let's take a breath. But
well, hold on a second, David. Adnan, were you indeed mad at us because we had you in the Zoom waiting room for about 25 minutes?
It's gone from 12 to 25, Stu. Stu, I'd never been mad at you. Fellow July 29th birthdays. But mildly annoyed, perturbed, maybe a little concerned. Like I was like, I'm not hearing anything. Is everything okay? Is this still on? Roy, talk to me. Lewis, throw me a lifeline. Never mad.
It's totally my fault because what I was trying to orchestrate, and given the time of day, I thought we had a shot. I was trying to get breaking news out of the winter meetings that Adnan could break for us live and watch his hair become the mess that it is because he's got to be on the air. He's got to be doing 10 different things. He's got to draw the curtains. I was hoping for all of that to happen. And finally, Stu said to me, we're starting the goddamn segment. I'm like, but I got nothing. I got no breaking news. I guess we're talking movies.
And I told you I don't care. I have a friend who's been sitting in the waiting room for 27 minutes. His hair's on fire.
I believe Billy is there today. Can I at least mention I'm at the gym today. Nobody cares who I am. Nobody knows me, obviously. The one dude that comes up to me, little squat rack, Carson Vitale, the new Marlins bench coach. And I was like, hey, what's going on? Fellow Canadian, grew up watching you on The Score. I'm from Victoria, British Columbia. I said, listen, make sure you endear yourself to the Dan Le Batard Show. Those are great guys. Billy's a huge Marlins fan. And then we interviewed Clayton McCullough on set. And I'm not kidding, Stu. When they said, Clayton McCullough will join you now, I said, is he a writer for The Athletic? I go, no, he's the new Marlins manager. I'm like, excellent. Great to meet you, Clayton. Good luck along the way. I love these guys. Carson Vitale, Billy. Good man.
Did you tell Clayton to be our friend, too?
I did at the end because Sean Casey was with me, and I said, "Hey, Clay, just those Dan Le Batard Show, they're good guys." He was like, "Okay." He didn't. Carson was more receptive. I don't know if Clayton really knew who you guys were.
I think it's critical if we're gonna.
We don't know who he is.
We have to get his name right.
You're asking if he was a writer. That's not gonna go well.
Dan called him Casey earlier.
No, we can't call him Casey. We can't say, "Oh, you're the Dodgers guy, right?" We got to stop that if we're trying to have him be a friend of the show. I'm begging you guys now. Carson Vitale, is that the name you're talking about? That's who's recognizing you in the weight room? Wow, we need to really up our guest game here.
No, David, this is, if we do become friends with him, this could be our in for the heist. We need someone working on the inside.
Inside man.
Yeah, inside job.
It's not a heist if we get let in the door. We can't buy tickets to a game and then steal the stuff. I thought we have to break into Marlins Park.
Well, we can break in after hours with the help of someone who works on the inside.
Yeah, Carson can give us the blueprints or something. Well, you probably have the blueprints.
I have the blueprints.
He does.
That's why we're
it's like the Lufthansa heist in a Goodfellas. He's the guy. He can get us in there.
But if you remember Ocean's 11, they thought that they had all the details, but they changed the floors last week.
That's right. Yep.
That was critical, but Jessica will pay way more attention. So what's the number one thing going on right now in the winter meetings? What are you waiting for after last night's unbelievable signing that the Yankees did? I'm talking about Max Fried, not Jake Berger being traded by the Marlins. What are you waiting? What are you on retainer here waiting for? Corbin Burns?
Big one right now. Yeah, I was about to say Corbin Burns. And it feels there's a lot of buzz, David. He's going to go to the San Francisco Giants. NorCal guy, Buster Posey, wants to make an impact on the San Francisco team that, as you know, has had trouble luring free agents. They signed Willie Adames to $182 million. I like Adames a lot. He had an 8 WAR last year. A lot of that is defense, but he also hit 32 home runs and drove in 112 as well. So they got Adames locked up. They've had trouble filling that shortstop spot ever since Brandon Crawford moved on, and I think Burns is the answer. Again, it's a pitcher's park. He's been very durable the last few seasons. He's a Cy Young Award winner. He's shown he can pitch in a competitive market in the American League East. I think Burns, the Giants, hopefully happens today.
Buster Posey's not spending his money. So stop with that narrative. He may love spending money. He's spending Robert Johnson's money.
Right.
It's unbelievable that he's enjoying this. He's a player. You know, Buster Posey is now Stu. I don't know. This went past Stu totally. Buster Posey.
I don't care.
David, he seems like, I thought Buster Posey was like a special assistant. What are you talking about?
Listen, I don't want to offend either of you, but we're like smack in the middle of football season. I'm talking about Buster Posey.
I don't
talk about Buster Posey in July. I mean,
you'll talk about Joe Mauer, but not talk about Buster Posey.
Joe Mauer doesn't deserve to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's different.
It's Hall of Fame time.
By the way, love the book, Stu. Excellent writing by
Thank
Dan
you.
Stanton. That chapter in particular was excellent. Just completely discrediting Joe Mauer, pissing off the people of Minnesota. Well done.
I'm not saying Mauer's not a Hall of Famer, but he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't care what anyone tells me.
And Adnan, I assure you, there was no thought of where the book is marketable when he was writing the different chapters of the players and what he was talking about. He didn't do any market research like, oh, Christ, I'm going to upset Minnesotans with this take.
Got it up front, David.
Exactly. He doesn't need to sell one book in Minnesota.
That's not true.
No, wait, is it not a guarantee where you just got an advance?
No, I got an advance, yes.
So it's not a guarantee.
Technically, I don't have to sell books, but
you have to give the advance back?
It would be no, and I won't have to give the advance.
Then that's a guarantee.
I've already eclipsed it. So
you have. Yeah. Don't be modest.
I'm not. I told you.
David's points to right. If you didn't hit a certain number, then you may have had to give back some of the advance. But if you eclipse it, you're crushing it. Yes.
Yes, we're crushing it.
So then screw Minnesota.
I mean, I would like to find people of Minnesota to purchase the book, of course. I mean, I want as many books sold as possible.
Then show some love.
I'm not going to show some love. I am showing some love. I'm teaching them what's the difference between a first ballot Hall of Famer and a Hall of Famer. He's Hall of Very Good. He is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. He wasn't even the best player on his own team. I don't want to hear about it.
That's book worthy.
Stu, was there any chapter, like when you looked at it now, you've had people reading it, was there any chapter that you said to Dan Stan's, okay, maybe we went a little far? Like the Ohtani chapter, is that the one that's got most reaction?
That's the one that haunts us. Yeah.
I wrote the opposite side of that. Adnan, I know you saw.
Unanimous MVP, Dave. The only 3-time unanimous MVP. Overrated.
That's page 204,
It was a bad time for the release of the book as it relates to that chapter. The Nadal one, too, because I love Nadal, and you know I love tennis, but the French Open is a totally different surface, and it does not feel like a major to me. So
no, I love that take. That was one of the strongest takes of the book. I'm not even kidding right now. You basically said this guy dominated one surface, and he was he was able to win a major the others, but like it's ridiculous. 14 French Opens over 22 overall. That's insane. Yeah. It's not Wimbledon. It's not the U.S. Open. That was a great chapter. I loved it.
Right, well, that is reckless journalism. First of all, it's a major. Second of all, 14 of 22. In 4 majors, if 22 divided by 4 would be 5 each plus 1 at 7, it's not that far off.
No, but David, very unique players can win the French Open, and they won't win another major. Like Gustavo Kuerten won it 3 times, didn't do anything in any other major because of the surface.
Every other major.
He did, but he won an overwhelming amount at Roland Garros. Yes.
He padded his total, David, with one tournament, which is a little ridiculous. The red clay, the funkiness of it. It is not regarded in tennis circles like the hallowed ground of Wimbledon, where Federer is one of the most Wimbledons of all time, period.
Do Colorado Rockies players pad their stats in Colorado?
Yes.
So therefore, Hall of Fame consideration changes for them?
I don't agree with it, but that's what happens to guys like Todd Helton. Yes, 100%.
I'm going to say, Adnan and Stu, that I disagree. I'm getting no love here. Billy and everyone.
Well, we're talking tennis.
No, they're a pro Federer crowd. Are you kidding, Jess? Jeremy's definitely pro Federer. Yeah,
I've been waiting to talk about Wicked for like 3 weeks, and it feels like this is finally the moment.
Yeah.
The Golden Globe nominations came out.
Nice.
Jeremy is...
I've been feeling loathing, unadulterated loathing, for the fact that we have not talked about Wicked yet, because it's an incredibly popular movie that's been defying expectations. A lot of people leaving going, what is this feeling? Adnan, what was your feeling about Wicked?
Enough of Wicked.
I haven't got around to it, Jeremy. I have the screener
in my
box. There's a lot of other movies I'd rather be watching than Wicked. I watched The Brutalist, which I love, which is a great movie coming out in a week and a half, starring Adrian Brody. I love Day of the Fight, which is a film which is ignored by the Golden Globes. I know Mike Ryan likes Nosferatu. I will see Wicked at some point, but I'm not thinking it's Wicked awesome. Not a high priority.
It might be your motion picture of the year.
It's an incredible movie.
All he does is talk about all the screeners he gets. You guys blow past that. I don't have access to the buttons here. I'll tell you right now, it's an absolute horse crap that you talk about these screeners. You're Adnan. You can't even get recognized in the weight room by anyone but the bench coach of the Marlins, and you get the screeners for the Academy Awards.
I also get the screenplay sent to me. I get promotional gifts. I get mugs sent to me. David, I get a lot of collectibles. Don't be jealous. Don't be hating right now. I get a Wicked sweatshirt. Jess, I'll show you. It's called Shiz, S-H-I-Z, a big old sweatshirt at home. You love it.
You don't deserve to have that sweatshirt if you haven't seen the movie. This is ridiculous. I've been trying to talk about this for weeks. This isn't even a punishment. This is just because I wanted to get Wicked on the show.
I haven't seen it either.
Neither have I.
Neither have I.
I hate you people.
David, we have some pictures here, and we want to ask you if indeed this is the vault. So let's put the pictures up on the screen here.
Where did you? That's funny. What they're showing is for the audio audience, they're showing you every room in a stadium gets numbered. And so 20501. So 2 is the second level of the stadium, and 05 and 2 is where the office.
Don't tell people where the heist is going to take place.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
With a good czar.
Don't give away your information here.
Or Adnan's mugs all in there too. All the
There's so much stuff in there. But seriously, I'm very loving that you got a Wow, wait a minute.
Look at the Marlin.
It's a big vault.
Look at the Marlin. Let's go.
Wait a minute. I'm actually being serious. Is this a picture from Google? This is a picture of where.
Your phone.
This is actually a picture of where we keep at Marlins Park stuff that is part of the history of the Marlins. And it is a locked room. No one gets access to it. There is amazingly valuable things in there. And there is a rule that it's not supposed to be photographed. And I'm actually asking this. Was this found on the Google?
Yeah.
So you just did a search for Marlins vault?
I didn't do anything.
Sources.
Mm-hmm.
I can't confirm or deny.
Can't reveal them. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a violation of
You're upset?
several
Look at you.
documents that people have signed putting a picture on that, just FYI.
You'll handle that.
You have not heard the last of this, Billy.
I have nothing to do with this.
You just put it on the screen
I didn't do
for
so.
millions of people.
I'm looking at the
Adnan
box
now
office
knows.
numbers right here. Moana 2, killing it.
Well, if you want to go to the game and try to find this vaults, you can download the Game Time app and get tickets.
Well done, Roy.
Create an account. Use code DAN, that's D-A-N, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time. Adnan, we didn't even get to the movies. Could you go find breaking news and get back to us?
David and I have had a best forward movie title list since September 25th. We're still waiting to get it's a great list. One closing thought, Stu. This is the best compliment I can give you. Your book made the required reading column in the New York Post.
What?
I don't know if
I wanted the Times, but I'll take the Post. I mean,
yeah, you did not. I'll be honest. You did not make the New York Times bestsellers list, but required reading the New York Post. That courtesy of John Heyman and Joel Sherman. Congrats.
I love it. A New York Post bestseller. I mean, how about that?
Required reading from John Heyman and Joel Sherman.
I love Heyman. Heyman's great.
By the way,
Heyman didn't say it. It's his newspaper. That's all I'm saying.
I'll tell you right now that Stu spent the entire break making up a font for his bestseller because he's a New York Post bestseller, Dan.
Yes.
And I must tell you that as a New York Times reader and a bestseller aficionado, I am sweating with nervousness that you are actually going to do it, because you will.
I'm going to do it.
One information from Adnan, and all of a sudden you're a best-selling author in the New York Times font. New York Post.
Yes, New York Post bestsellers list that I'm going to put out in the New York Times font.
Congratulations.
What's wrong with that?
Congratulations, Stugotz.
Everyone knows the Post is the list you want to be on.
He is doing very well with the sales of his book, but we cannot keep Kieth Yandle waiting any longer, because I can make the argument, all right, that Kieth Yandle is among the toughest human beings that have ever roamed the earth, because he just kept playing in hockey games. Second most all time, 989 consecutive hockey games.
It's a lot of hockey games.
It's just insane. It's not right. It's not sane. His pain threshold is higher than anybody you know, anyone you've ever met, anyone who has walked the earth, except whoever's first on this list of consecutive games played all time in hockey, because hockey players are crazy. So he's a 3-time All-Star. He's a 14-year NHL veteran, and he's an analyst for Amazon Prime and a guest on TNT's NHL coverage. So thank you, Kieth, for being with us. And before we talk about hockey right now, can you explain to us the mentality and the suffering and the sacrifice involved in taking pride in playing 989 consecutive games, second most all time?
Yeah, well, for me, it was kind of, first off, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be on the show. But for me, it was, I'm from a blue-collar town. My dad's a truck driver. Both my parents worked for FedEx. And I never once saw them miss a day of work. My dad worked the overnight shifts, then came home, worked another job, then coached hockey. My mom was doing the same thing, working 2 jobs. So for me, I grew up with that sense of accountability to show up for work, to show up for the people that are paying you. And for me, I was playing hockey. I wasn't doing anything too crazy. I was having fun. And a lot of it is job security too, because sometimes if you miss a game, another young guy comes in and takes your spot, and next thing you know that you're in the minors or your career is over. So for me, it was probably a lot more job security and just wanting to be out there and having fun with the boys.
All right, but articulate that that last part. Articulate that for a second. If I don't show up for work one day, my career's in jeopardy. The stress and mentality of that.
Yeah, even though hockey, the contracts are guaranteed, with their great union, having that's a nice bonus. But it's just that sense of, there's so many good players in the world nowadays. There's guys coming up that are young, that are hungry, that are willing and able to take your job. So for me, it was just I never wanted somebody to have that opportunity to take my job. I took pride in being a really good power play guy. I loved being out there on the power play. That was kind of what I was out there for, is to help the team win on the power play. So for me, it was never giving away those minutes on the power play, trying to help my team win games, and essentially not missing too many games.
Explain to me what's happening here. I'm going to put on the screen here Tom Wilson, and his face is all busted up because he had 2 goals and, of course, just a puck hit him in the face, because that's how it happens. So let's put up for Kieth the video of Tom and his swollen face.
Start by asking you about your face. You take a puck to the face, go to the room. What goes into that decision to tough it out and come back in the game?
Yeah, it's my first time seeing it on the screen. It doesn't look so hot here, but you know what? I think my dad always told me if you're good to play, you play. So went to the room, got checked out, and felt good enough to get back out there. And it's a team sport, and just boys rallied, got it done.
If you're not watching, that sniffling there evidently was caused by the softball that man had in his left cheek. His face doesn't work right, and Kieth is smiling as he looks at his swollen face.
It's also cold in there.
And it's also cold, which, by the way, reduces inflammation. The cold is good for the swelling that he has. What is happening there? Like, what's wrong with you people?
Yeah, he might have broken a sinus or something there too. The way he was sniffling. But I had a similar situation. I got hit in the face, broke my upper jaw. I lost like 9 teeth or something like that, and came to the rink the next day. And Bobby Orr, arguably the greatest defenseman to ever play, just happened to be in the locker room, and he looked at me, and I couldn't talk because my mouth was wired. He looked at me and shook his head. He was like, "If you can skate, you can play." And I was like, all right, well, now I'm definitely playing tonight. So there was no doubt when Bobby Orr is kind of not calling you out, but just you know what those older guys went through to put the league where it is now. So you can't let anyone down.
You were so close to 1,000 consecutive games. What happened? What's the injury that got you?
There wasn't an injury. I was healthy scratched.
So
it was my play. I was playing like absolute crap. So I deserved it. It was one of those seasons.
What happened if you could
I
skate?
wasn't
You
even
can
sure
play.
I was going to play and signed. Well, yeah, no one told the coach that. So for me, it was just I took it like a man. I deserved it. If I was playing well, I'm sure they would have played me. So that's something that and I'm sure it could have happened many a times during my career. But a lot of the coaches kind of respected what I was doing and what I was trying to get to, and it just had to come to an end at some point.
All right, enough of the career retrospective. You love the Rangers. You love the Panthers. How do you feel about the fact that the Rangers have to blow it up because of what the Panthers did to them?
Yeah, it's tough. I think everyone, you look at all these teams around the league, you look what Boston did over the summer, just getting bigger on the back end for, trying to set themselves up to, probably be playing Florida. Because you look what Florida's done the last 2 years of just beating teams down in the playoffs. They're not the biggest team in the league, but they play hard. They finish checks. They're bringing 4 lines at you every single game. There's 0 time to make a play when you're playing against them. So I think with the Rangers as well, even though Jacob Trouba is a big, strong, tough defenseman, I think that they just needed to go in a different direction. I'm interested to see what Chris Drury has up his sleeve. A smart guy who's done amazing things in this league, and I think they're going to have a big splash because at the end of the day, everyone knows that the Cup, especially in the East too, the Cup runs through South Florida.
Oh, you love hearing that. Roy, you were too busy talking to me and you didn't even hear what he said. The man who is the face and voice, the swollen face of broken jaw hockey, says the Cup runs through Sunrise.
You're goddamn right it does.
You didn't even hear him. You can't get in here this late. It's a ridiculous sentence. It's an asinine sentence the man just said.
Has been for the past 6 years.
It's asinine. It's ridiculous.
Here.
It's an asinine thing to say and
Canada
think
is
and
so
believe.
upset.
That's right, Canada. It comes through the cruise ship port of Roy's happiness.
It's the
Right
greatest
here.
image I've ever seen.
Right here. It makes Roy ice skate with delight on a cruise ship to a land that he does not know because he doesn't pay any attention to the cruises he goes on. We go out to Jessica now. She's in the other room. We get some body repair around here, Kieth, and everyone's complaining about how much it hurts. And I keep telling them that there's healing in the hurt, that on the other side of pain, your body will feel better. Jessica, what do you have for Kieth Yandle?
Oh, I'm Kieth. I'm so tough. I'm a hockey player. Well, Kieth, have you ever been mashed before? Have you ever had Genesis's toe in your ass, Kieth?
Yeah. Actually, in Florida, there's one of the trainers' name is Timmy. We call him Mr. Miyagi. He's got he's got metal thumbs, this guy, and he would stick his thumb in your armpit or where you had it in close to your rear end. So
What about his toes? Where does he put his toes?
I would have rathered his toes. This guy had hands like a Greek god. So it was, but I have had that before too. I've never seen the walker, somebody being held up by the walker too. So that's a, that's a new one.
Keith. She's inside my hammy.
The hammies feed the wolf.
Hell yeah.
He's right. Yeah.
I like that. I'm stealing that.
Are you getting paid to do this, or
do you have any hockey questions for Kieth, Jessica? Or are you just going to have questions about mashing?
I have a question. You're from Boston, right, Kieth? What are your
Yes.
thoughts on Bill Belichick potentially being the head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels?
Excellent. Yes. Yes.
Well, yeah, you see my Patriots helmet right here.
Yeah.
I actually can't see anything right now.
She just guessed.
Lucky.
At the end of the day, it seems like a play that he's trying to help out his son, right? That's what everything that I've heard, that his son Steven's going to take over the job. And as a father of two, I am all for setting up the next generation of your family, and good for him. I mean, obviously the man still wants to coach. I figured he'd still be in the NFL if he wanted to, but hey, why not go down to Chapel Hill?
Would his recruiting pitch work on you if he walked into the room that you were in with your kids and was like, hey, come play for me, here's all my Super Bowl rings?
I couldn't even get into college, so that's why. Luckily, in hockey, we have Major Junior. You can go play. You can go play up in Canada and bypass going to school. So for me, I would have taken his phone call.
That's the spot right there, Genesis.
Yeah, kind of like how some Ivy League schools used to call me, and my dad would just hang up on him and be like, "You got the wrong number."
Really?
Yeah, funny story. Brown called me, and my dad said the only Brown that kid will be seeing is in his underwear. So,
Oh, wow.
Wow. Wait a minute. So what? So, wait a minute. So explain to me how these phone calls would go and how a young Kieth would absorb these phone calls nearby.
Well, I knew what my GPA was. I knew I was not getting into an Ivy League school, and my dad's a straight shooter. Didn't want to lead anyone in the wrong direction, and kind of just saving everybody a little bit of time. So I applaud him for doing it.
Kieth, I want to get back to the New York Rangers and how they handled the Jacob Trouba trade, and they really wanted to get rid of this guy. Have you ever seen an organization just want to dump somebody like that?
Yeah, I think it happens, more than people realize. There's times, in everyone's career where a team's, looking to go in the next direction. And even though he's the captain of the team, he's been a great player for them. I know Jacob. He's a great guy. He's great around the community. Ton of charity work. Just an all around good American boy. So I'm sure it was a hard decision, but at the end of the day, it's a business, and especially in New York when it's a win now mentality, and even though they haven't won it in a while, it's every year their main goal is to win the Stanley Cup. So I think for the way they handled it, maybe the news getting out in the media might have hurt a little bit, but I was told that was leaked from not the Rangers side. So. This all happens during the course of anyone's career. If Jacob Trouba was making $5 or $6 million, we wouldn't be talking about. He'd still be a New York Ranger, but
it's pretty messy though with the trading of a captain, though, right? No, like the honor of all that stuff in hockey is supposed to mean more than it does in all the other sports. Like it's an unusual story to have a captain traded. Hockey likes to march around in the bravado of we're led by our toughest man.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think Trouba said it as well. It's kind of a badge of honor as the captain of the Rangers to get traded, because it happened to, two great Americans before him with Ryan Callahan and Ryan McDonough. So he's just kind of, I think, following in those footsteps maybe of just, signing a nice big contract and then getting traded and going elsewhere. But, like those other guys like Ryan Callahan and Ryan McDonough, those guys won Stanley Cups after leaving New York. So I hope nothing but the best for Jacob.
Look, I know I'm the last person that should be talking about toughness because I'm currently dressed as the witch from Wicked, but we're complimenting all of these hockey guys for their toughness because of swollen faces and stuff, and I believe the video team has an image of me after I got my wisdom teeth out, and it looks exactly the same way as any of these hockey players, and I wasn't complaining, guys, when my face looked like this, so I don't think we need to worry about it.
You just look like a fat kid. You just look like a fat kid.
Wow.
You just look like a fat young man. You don't look injured there. You look like you're about to blow a bubble. Do I have this wrong?
That's swelling in my face.
I thought that was McLovin.
It does look like McLovin. It does look like McLovin. Those glasses were rough, man.
I thought it was Ben Platt.
Very young.
Man, another one.
Can you guys walk me through, please? Because I don't want to get carried away with this, Keith. But the Panthers are again the best. The Panthers are having already done it.
Stanley Cup goes through sunrise.
I know they're the defending champions, but they're playing in a way this season that would suggest that there's been no regression. I would expect just hockey to happen and there to be a regression, because doing that for this many months of excellence is really hard. I would think that there would be some regression there.
Yeah, going to the finals back-to-back years is no joke, but I still live down here. I still see those guys quite a bit, and they're just a hungry group. I just really think that they're not satisfied with winning one Stanley Cup. I think they know they have something special. I think when you play in this league, it doesn't happen to everybody. You don't get that opportunity all the time, and I think that these guys really are taking full advantage of what they have. You know, they got one of the best goalies in the league. Sasha Barkov's probably, in my mind, he's the number one, over like all around player in the league. Matthew Tkachuk, a guy that can, lead from in the locker room and lead on the ice. Just a great acquisition by them. Aaron Ekblad, a kid that's been here forever. And then, it's just kind of one of those things. I think the biggest thing we'll see is this year they have a ton of guys that are playing in the Four Nations tournament, representing Finland, Sweden, U.S., and Canada. So I think after that tournament, maybe a week or two after that, we'll see how they're feeling fatigue-wise. But I think that'll be a big test for them, is getting through that tournament, keeping guys healthy and going on another run, because at the end of the day, they're built for another big run.
Keith, we've established you're a tough guy. I think I'm known to some as a tough guy of this office. But one of the places that I get criticized, and I feel like we have this in common, I was told you're a big Bravo boy. You like the Vanderpumps. You like the Housewives. You like the Below Deck. What's your poison? What's your go-to? Walk me through a week of Bravo consumption.
Look at how happy he was that you asked him about this.
I love that. Now we're talking.
You said the cup comes through South Florida. So did Bravo Fest a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you made time for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was out of town, unfortunately.
Shame.
But my favorite all-time reality or Bravo show, right now it's probably Below Deck.
Which one? Sailing Yacht, Down Under, Classic,
I'm not a
Med?
I'm not a big sailing yacht. I'm not a big sailing yacht. Yeah.
Captain Glenn's a bit too soft, and Gary's a bit problematic, if we're going to be honest there. And Daisy, I don't get it. Every season, everyone's fighting over Daisy. I don't understand. Who's your captain? Captain Chase? Who are we talking? Jace there? We're talking Captain Sandy?
I like Sandy. I like Sandy. I like Sandy. She's old school. I used to see her quite a bit down in Fort Lauderdale.
Just got married. Did you go to the wedding? Any chance you made it to that?
No, I got invited, but I was out of town.
Really? You got invited?
No.
You're out of town a lot. I mean, yeah.
I was kidding.
He's joking. Obviously, he's not of the pedigree. What's the matter with you idiots? They would never invite. It's like me falling for him getting into Brown. Come on.
He's no Kate Chastain. Get it, Keith?
No. Yeah, I like Kate. Kate's good. All the shows are great. It's just something you can put it on, shut your brain off, and probably feel better about yourself at the end of the day.
Keith, thank you for being on with us. We appreciate the time. I do want to know the story before you get out of here. The Panthers bought out the last 2 years of your contract. That ending, what are the parts of that people need to know that they don't know because you wish to give us information no one else has?
Not much. It was just kind of, Bill Zito came in, had a new, kind of vision of where the team was going. Kind of talked with them and thought it would be best decision. That's the good thing when you get older. You have, you have no movement clause in your contract, so your only thing that they can do really is buy you out. So. No hard feelings what happened. Obviously what they've done is work. They've been a wagon since I've left. So it's one of those things where you wish nothing but because I played with a lot of the guys down here and, a lot of great people in that room. So, still a fan of the team, still love being around here and rooting them on.
This is David Sampson, a former executive of a team, and I've had to have those conversations.
We really did
You're
need
telling
an introduction.
I've never met him.
I know, but we could tell.
I've never met him.
He could tell from your voice that you're the face and voice of corporate greed. Go
Keith,
ahead.
this is David. David, this is Keith. Go ahead, Dave.
He was also on Survivor, Keith, if you watch Survivor.
I love Watch What Happens Live as well. Happy to talk about that with you. But I really just want to know, when they come to you for a buyout and then you see them go on this unbelievable run, I love that you're telling us that you're all good and it's all good. But I had players who would say that, but they didn't really mean it because they wanted to be a part of it. They felt badly about it. And then when the team goes on to be successful, they're,
You're accusing him of being a liar.
Well, no, not a liar. I'm saying
the good thing is I wouldn't have been there anyways. My contract would have been up for the last 2 years, so I would have missed out on those 2 years anyways. My body was done playing anyways. Long time, 16 years is a long time. So
amazing
I don't think I would have re-signed for 2 more years there. So that probably helps a little bit, where knowing that maybe if they had wanted the year I was supposed to be there, then it would have been a little bit of more, tough pill to swallow. But like I said, like the trainers there, the players that are still here that I played with, I love those guys. A lot of guys in the management, the scouts. So I'm being 100% honest.
No, that's great. Being the Iron
Man,
very. It's hard.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing.
Keith, I understand that we have a lot in common, okay? You're a hockey player. You're a tough guy. I'm a tough guy. I played lacrosse. You're in the media. I'm in the media. You love golf. I love golf. I understand that you play at Grove 23, which is Jordan's private course. I also play at Grove 23. I'm thinking me and you play around there. What do you think, huh?
100%, whenever you want. Yeah. I'm around. I got nothing.
Thank you. Good talking to you, Keith.
You're not going to be out of town.
Appreciate your time. It is gross what Stugotz does there.
Playing golf.
Uses the show to golf with sports Ironmen. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate the time. A couple of stories that I wanted to get to. A couple of them from football. One. Condolences and heartfelt sorrow on behalf of Randy Moss because of having both the reported liver cancer and being outed on health stuff, because he didn't exactly get to choose the way that news was disclosed. He was hoping that would be something that he could do privately. I thought he was going to be able to have his privacy respected as he left ESPN for a while with that. But evidently a teammate tweeted it out, and the same thing that Kirk Schilling did to Tim Wakefield's family is what happened here.
It's really, so when Randy Moss took a leave, you remember how it was presented to the public. It was presented that he's taken a leave for personal health concerns. Mm-hmm. And then there was a tweet about liver cancer, and it forced Randy, in my opinion, to make this statement the same way the Wakefield family had to make a statement after what Kirk Schilling did. It's not a pleasant situation.
I do not believe that privacy these days is something that can actually be kept. It's very hard if you're a famous person. But the other football story that I wanted to get to, and it's really hard to hear that, right? I will always associate the name with Randy Moss with youth and vitality. It's sort of the first place that I go. So that never gets old. That is never mortal. When I associate that name, I don't associate it with mortality. Quite the opposite.
If we're going to be just saying things, Ryan Sandberg also has cancer again. So I want to just say it's not just football, it's baseball, it's Hall of Famers, it's the world getting in the way of our fantasy.
But you associate that name, Randy Moss's name, with all due respect to Ryan Sandberg, to just superior athleticism, doing things that we have never seen on a football field. And to see an athlete, anyone, be brought to their knees, someone that you've seen only at their greatest, only at the height of their powers, to see a man brought to his knees like he is today is hard to see.
I don't want to eulogize him. I don't want it to make it that dire, but I hear liver cancer and I recoil with a horror and a fear, just because there are a couple of cancers, pancreatic among them, that you just don't want to hear about because of the aggressiveness of them. And so that is one of them I don't want to hear about. The other thing that I wanted to talk about that Jessica started to bring up there, that I really am having a difficult time finding anything in the way of precedent for in the history of my coverage of sports. The greatest football coach by consensus in the history of the sport is available, and I can't believe the number of people arguing about whether he can do a college job correctly or not. The number of people yelling and screaming about the idea of Bill Belichick might be the greatest football coach ever, but if you allow him to coach North Carolina, he's going to screw it up. And that he's coming in with his own recruiting staff and his own coaching staff. They're going to be different. He's got different ideas for how to do this in his early 70s, and there are a whole lot of people arguing about whether he can do that job successfully. I don't have an analogy I can give you in the hypothetical that would feel quite as real as the one that I'm presented with, which is, how is this happening this way? This man can clearly lead and coach. You're telling me he can't do it at a college program because it's changed too much in college that a pro can't do it at ungoverned, now professionalized second-tier college football?
But, Dan, the game changed so much. It's a different job. It changed so much that Nick Saban decided to get out. He was at the top of the sport, and he's like, hey, I'm out. I don't want to deal with this.
And there's age bias.
Right, of course.
And there's the question of, is he doing it for his son? And there's a question of whether or not it's because of Tom Brady that he was so good. Like, was Phil Jackson the greatest coach ever, or was it Jordan and then Bryant? So there's a myriad reasons,
And
Dan.
there's the question of who wants to hire him from North Carolina and who doesn't, because it seems evident from the reporting that there's a very potentially like rogue coaching search happening. There's a ton of disagreement among the people in charge about what to do, and reporting that this has been like a extremely clumsy hiring process. And so I think that like it's maybe a university dysfunction that's being like leaked into the public right now. So we don't really know exactly what is going on.
The part that I am baffled by is, and I just simply couldn't have foreseen in whatever it is that you made of the hypotheticals pre-pandemic. If I had told you 5 years ago, hey, Bill Belichick's going to be available, and North Carolina, there's going to be a giant argument about whether he should go there, you'd be like, what are you talking about?
And the Falcons already passed on him.
We already did the thing. We already did the thing in college football where the Patriots coach with the Super Bowl ring comes in and everyone's like, oh my God, he's going to be a genius. And Charlie Weiss didn't work out. Right. So we've already done this in college football and it didn't work. I think there's a
Charlie Weiss, who looks like the lower half of his body was sewn together backwards, does not get to be Bill Belichick under any of the circumstances that you provide as hypotheticals.
Is not a good reason.
And what does COVID have to do with it?
That before COVID, because COVID changed all of what college football was, because the players started asking for money, and then all of a sudden everything collapsed about amateurism. Like the entire structure of everything, of the corporate greed that appeared during the pandemic, that the players wanted the money. Everything in college football collapsed and changed in a way, and changed so much that it now ostracizes Bill Belichick.
No, it makes him more popular, actually. It's the opposite analysis. Bill Belichick knows how to run a professional program, and colleges are professional programs now.
Well, no, he got fired because he didn't know how to run a professional program. That's the aspect of it that I think we're all ignoring
He
here.
got fired because when you're with someone for that long, it doesn't end well, and the owner wins every time.
It's also the ACC.
Because they were losing, though.
And there was no Brady.
That's a good point, Billy.
I feel like it's a decent point to say that 5 years ago, none of us could have arrived at imagining a scenario where we are today, which is, hey, Belichick's available. North Carolina's fans aren't sure if they want him.
No one's going to convince me that Bill Belichick can't beat SMU. I mean,
out of all the scenarios I couldn't have imagined 5 years ago, this one's not top of the list.
For real. All right, you know what time it is. It's time for Against the Spread. Sponsored by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. I'm going to start with an easy one. The New York Rangers at the Buffalo Sabres. Not much needed to be added here. Rangers are favorites at 1.5 goals. Take the Rangers tonight against the spread. Really?
Minus goal and a half.
Easy one.
Nothing more needs to be said.
Nothing needs to be said.
I mean, the Sabres are one of the worst teams in the league. So.
Yeah.
Nothing needs to be said.
Buffalo's playing for their city, Roy.
Yeah. Well,
They've
it's the
been
only
sullied.
Doesn't
They're
everyone?
impugned.
Yeah. The Bills. They got the Bills. Don't worry about them. Billy.
All right, Roy, you mentioned the Bills. I'm going to take the Bills plus 2.5 over the Detroit Lions. Sunday at 4:25.
Wow.
Why do you ask? Great question. We talked about this a week and a half ago or so, more or less. This is a big statement game for both teams, but not necessarily the statement that you want to make, because it's also the opportunity for a revenge game for both teams. Should this be the Super Bowl that a lot of people want to see? Now, here's what you ask yourselves. Both teams, do they want to win this game or do they want to lose this game? Because if you lose the game, then you create a revenge game for yourself. And both of these teams were in need for quality losses to kind of motivate them a little bit more.
41-17 against the spread.
We should hear him out.
It would be a quality loss for both teams, and it's a game in which we discussed you don't pull out all the stops. You leave some stops in there. So then, should you have the rematch in the Super Bowl, then you think, we saw all the stops. They were all pulled out. No, boom, new stop, not anticipated. You catch the other team off guard. However, both teams are kind of in the same position where they could do this to the other team. So you wonder, how many stops will be in? How many will be pulled? Who knows? I'm going to go with the Bills. Plus 2.5 against the spread.
Does that count toward your record?
No, this is not.
This is outside.
Against the spread is different, and here's the thing. I won last season of Against the Spread. I won the big prize. Still waiting on it to arrive, but I won the big prize last season. My Against the Spread, honestly, is probably better than my Big Board Bets record. It's kind of crazy.
Jessica.
I think your reasoning sounded asinine.
The spread.
I'm taking Army this weekend to cover 6.5 against Navy because Bryson Daly, the Army quarterback, the Army team this year, they have been so good, except for that one game against Notre Dame. We don't count that. Don't worry about that one. Bryson Daly, by the way, 100% completion percentage last weekend. He threw 2 passes. But the Army offense is electric. So is the Navy offense, really. But I think Army's is just slightly better. Statistically, they've just been slightly better this season. Navy's fallen a few times. I think this is Army's, and I think they're going to cover.
Thank you for your service
Against
to both sides in that game. Samson, why are you laughing at Stugotz's maniacal coughing and choking? And he would say,
Billy made me laugh.
We're in a contract year. We're trying to do the
I'm crying.
The sponsored segment correctly, and Stugotz is just coughing and wheezing. As Billy says, both teams need to lose so somebody has a revenge game.
Correct.
And my stomach hurts so badly that I'm doubled over in
Same
pain.
here.
It's the candy.
Yeah.
Something's going on because someone else said they had a tummy ache too, and everyone's being a brave boy today and just kind of working
Oh my God,
through
was it the bacon sandwiches?
Coco was sick also.
Wow.
I think there's something going on, but I'm just saying that I thought it was more show related, but it could be the potatoes with the pork.
It is not the potatoes and the pork.
Crying.
Sounds like you have something against the breakfast spread.
I like it.
I'll leave.
No, that was a good
that was
one.
funny.
No, that one was a good one.
Roy, get him.
You can stay here, and I'm also going to create another penalty because you guys deciding when it is you leave sort of defeats the purpose of punishment. So I'm gonna get a punishment that you guys don't actually want to walk into, where you guys offering the bad joke and then I'll leave because you get rewarded for it. We're going to fix the way the punishment
Genesis is in
system.
the penalty box right now, so please kick me out.
Okay,
I
yeah.
need to finish getting mashed.
Well, I might kick Stugotz out because he doesn't want
No.
Genesis. He
No.
refuses.
I will take his punishment.
Again, not understanding the way punishments work. That's not what we're going to do right now. I did want to ask you guys a question here before we get to the useless sound montage. Odell Beckham, when I say that name, it was not long ago that was a New York superstar, that was an athlete that was Kardashian world adjacent, pop culture famous, internet famous in a way that made him a giant sports star. The New York Giants have been basically an unmitigated echoing failure since they were photographed on a boat wearing whatever it is, jeans, shirtless, and like construction boots. They were all wearing it. Take care, Stugotz. I hope you're okay. I hope you don't die. Maybe you should have Genesis take it out of your system. Now, and now you're coughing too because there are a number of elements playing defense against me being able to do this well or professionally today. Mostly all of the people I'm paying. It's almost all of the people that I'm paying.
Perfect.
A whole lot of been going on that nobody sees behind the scenes that has made today an unmitigated disaster in every way that these things are produced. But the question I was asking you is about Odell Beckham, a huge sports star, once upon a time. For the Miami Dolphins on Sunday, he had 1 catch for 1 yard. And I'm asking you, would he have preferred to see 0 catches for 0 yards in the box score when he left that football game? Or does a huge sports star once upon a time leave that football game feeling proud that he contributed 1 yard and 1 catch to a victory?
We did not plan this, Dan, but you're talking about superstars pinch hitting. I'm going to move it to baseball and then relate it back to answer your question. There are players who say, do not pinch hit me on an off day. The big guys who are getting paid a lot of money, they don't want to prepare and do what's necessary to have the one at bat and then stare at a donut at an 0 for 1 going against the closer throwing 99. So they ask for the full day. Odell Beckham, the question is, before the game starts, is he told by Coach McDaniel, hey, listen, put your shoes on, you're going to be in this? Or was it, oh Christ, go back, put your toes on?
No, it's not. He expected to have a big day. I'm assuming he always expects to have a big day because he's Odell Beckham. I don't think that he's happy at his role with the Dolphins, that anytime you're taking a prop bet on Odell Beckham this year, it's over under will he have 11.5 yards for the game, because he's their third receiver, or actually he's their third wide receiver allegedly in name value, but they got about 7 guys they're more likely to throw it to on any given route. I'm just asking you the question about the box score itself. When it's 1 catch for 1 yard, would Odell Beckham prefer that be 0 catches for 0 yards?
I think he wants the yard and the catch.
No, because I tend to think about Michael Irvin in this situation. I think he wants the yards. I think he wants more yards. I think he wants more catches. Yeah.
You think he wants no targets as opposed to like a stat line that's 9 yards, 1 reception?
No, not. I thought it was 1 yard, 1 catch. I thought it was 1 catch for 1 yard.
I don't think he's happy that he received that little amount of targets.
No, of course.
But I think does he have a streak going on? Is he our hypothetical
no, he doesn't
baseball player with the streak, the 10-year streak?
He doesn't have any kind of streak because he's got plenty of games
Billy,
with 0
what do you
catches,
think? Is
0
there a streak
yards.
Going on?
The 800-game hit streak,
Yes.
are they a Hall of Famer, that one?
Yeah. If Odell Beckham is that guy, then I think he wants the 1 yard, 1 reception.
I think he knows. People know. We tell him before a game. He knows he's third string. He knows how many targets he's going to get. Do you think Odell Beckham goes into the game thinking I'm the number 1 target?
No, I think this has sadly been like the reality for the last few years for him.
But Stugotz is in the other room. I'm being told that he's in the other room now.
Hey, Dano.
And he's ready to go with Genesis. And he is. Oh, wait a minute. He's getting the good stuff. That's not the stuff that hurts. That's the stuff. That's the stuff that feels good right there.
No, the Theragun on the kidney is a...
Yeah, it hurts.
It's a bad spot.
The Theragun?
On the kidney.
That's not his kidney.
The Theragun feels good. The Theragun...
Not in the kidneys, Dan.
When I'm watching that Dolphin game on Sunday, and I think Sampson's got this wrong, they don't know how many catches they're going to have. I'm guessing that Jonnu Smith thought he was going to have, like the last month worth of games, 10 targets in that game. Then they don't target him all game. And then in overtime, all of a sudden, they're throwing 3 times to him. And he wouldn't have had any warning whatsoever that they weren't going to target him all the entire game. And then in overtime, because Jason Sanders manages to make the 16th consecutive kick of his career, longest active streak in the league, then all of a sudden he gets a chance at some catches. Otherwise, Jonnu Smith was leaving the stadium with 0 catches for 0 yards. 0 targets, too.
I think the players are in communication a little more than that. And I think when you're in the game, if you're in the play, you know where you are with Tua. Are you the check down guy? You're going to get more? Or are you the third option? You may get fewer. Odell Beckham, you are told prior how many plays.
Odell Beckham does not think that he's going into an NFL football game and all he's going to have is 1 catch for 1 yard.
You think Odell's waking up and he thinks he's going to get 12 targets this week?
Not 12 targets, just not 1 catch for 1 yard. Like, that's not what he's going to the stadium for. If you told him beforehand, this is what it's going to be, he's going to say, I don't even want to play.
Well,
what's the point of playing?
Dan, what if he had a second catch, but it was for like -3 yards? Do you think he'd rather have 1 for 1 yard or 2 for -2 yards then?
Good question.
Ooh, this is a good hypothetical.
It could be incentives in his contract for snaps played.
Perhaps. I don't think he's going to meet those, though, because he hasn't actually played that much. The reason I'm actually bringing it up is because of how fleeting stardom can be in that sport. But let's
any sport, Dan.
Yeah, but no, that one. Yes, any sport.
The sport of podcasting as well. Yeah.
I think football, the average career in football is 3 years.
Same in baseball.
It's
same with podcasting.
Yeah, you don't reach arbitration.
But he's still a name. Like, his name still has brand recognition. He may not be a star in terms of like stats he's putting up, but like, do you think he's just going to be forgotten? People are going to remember him for a while.
The only place I was trying to take you guys is I believe Odell Beckham is embarrassed by seeing his name and that stat line, given where he's been in the sport. And I know that career mortality, you've heard me say some version of this before, that confidence is the last thing to go. That confidence is the last thing to go and the mirror is the last thing to know. That these guys generally keep thinking that they're going to overcome odds again and again. Odell Beckham, look, I don't know what he expected his career to be after making what was being described as the greatest catch any of us had ever seen in a Monday Night Football game with the New York Giants. But what happened to his career after that is he went to Cleveland with great expectations, was supposed to carry them over with the great expectations, and that entire Cleveland team ends up falling apart. And then he does resurrect himself by going to the Rams, and in that Super Bowl, he was going to be Super Bowl MVP. The way that game plan was structured, if he had not gotten hurt in that game, Odell Beckham was going to win the Super Bowl MVP. To have that as your career and go to the Dolphins and be fighting at 6-7, 1 catch for 1 yard, that seems like it happened pretty fast to me. Maybe it doesn't feel that way to you, but that feels like it evaporated pretty fast.
So his contract is full of incentives. He gets $450,000 if he catches 6 touchdowns. He gets $400,000 if he gets 4 touchdowns. $1 million if he gets 55 receptions. $400,000 for 36. $800,000 for 45. It seems like he was signing a deal knowing I'm going to have to prove it to get all of this money, and these are incentives that, he's not going to reach. I think he's played 9 games and has 9 receptions at the moment.
I don't think they're purposely holding him down.
No, I don't think so either. I think he also came in knowing, like, hey, I'm like the 4th option here.
And that's why I don't think he was surprised to have 1 catch for 1 yard. He didn't sign with the Dolphins. It was a really weird deal down here in Miami when he signed, as though you were signing the player he was with the Rams before the injury. He's done. He's in the, 16th minute of a 15-minute
No, I know the
career.
Will Fuller contract with the Dolphins where you come in and cash in at the end of your career. I'm still telling you, and I will move off of this subject in a second, you are underestimating the amount of personal pride that these people have. 1 catch for 1 yard is embarrassing to him. Like, seeing those numbers based on what used to be the threat of that name, there is no pride in that. And if you have pride as an athlete, those numbers, looking at them, you're like a little bit ashamed of what your career has become.
How many athletes go out on their career after like a 13 reception game with 2 touchdowns?
But also, like, if Odell Beckham goes out and it's like, hey, Odell Beckham is at this club, come like see Odell Beckham, you think like, 1 catch, 1 yard? I don't think so. I don't want to hang out with Odell Beckham today. Like, no one knows his stat line. He's Odell Beckham Jr. He made the catch.
Who the hell cares about Odell Beckham Jr.? That catch was the worst thing that ever happened to him and his career, Dan. What do you care? Odell Beckham Jr. chose to come to the Dolphins. Tariq Hill is on this team. Jalen Waddle's on this team. Jonnu Smith is on this team. Achan's on this team. The guy who led the NFL in touchdowns can't even sniff the field. Who cares about Odell Beckham Jr.?
It sounds like the Theragun's in your mouth.
It really does.
Audio audience. We need to explain that, please.
I leave for a minute. You talk about Odell Beckham. You really nailed that phrase, that saying, Dan, by the way.
You say nailed in that position is not my perfect visual. It's hurting my tummy.
Okay, I need you to stop making this overt sexual innuendos.
I'm sorry, this is the good part, though.
He is.
Genesis's laugh.
He's getting the Theragun. The Theragun in the glute is good. Yes.
I like Nick Torturo just watching.
His rage faces are great. We're trying to get the Torturos. I want to see if we can get them on because Yankee fan rage is something that's fun to consume. Roy, give me the useless sound montage, please. All of the football coaches, all of the football players who said irrelevant things that are immediately forgetful. Give it to me. Cliche Fest.
he never blinked, and we gave him opportunities.
Just because we're in first is one thing, to stay in first is a whole nother deal.
The strength of the pack is the pack.
Remind myself of how hard this thing is and how much of a competitor you got to be for 4 quarters and go and take it. Nothing's ever given to you.
Losing period sucks. And when you're up in the 4th quarter, all of a sudden it starts to feel like you have a losing problem. It's like you have like a gene.
Resilient group. We play for each other. Guys step up when other people are down, and that's what football is all about. Teaches you life lessons.
Just got to build, got to progress. Have to find a way to come together and come in sync as a unit and play complementary ball.
We got our ass kicked today, and there's no way around it.
We got our butts kicked. There's no other way to say it.
Big part of it is my appreciation for them. They work the right way. The process is intact. The guys are working hard during the week. Walkthroughs, meetings, the whole thing. Details high, energy's high, execution's high. It's not translating to the field on Sundays.
Thought the guys were ready to play, trying to put it all together, all 3 phases. I thought we took a step today on special teams.
I went through my reads, how Trav released, it looked like a corner, and then in the halfback and a couple other guys. And then as I went to ready to run, I just saw 8-7 just sitting right there in the middle of the field open, so I just fired it to him.
You never go broke taking a profit.
We didn't make enough plays today, and so that's on us as an offense to take a look at it, watch the film, be critical about ourselves, especially in the first half, and see what went wrong, where we can improve, and what we can do moving forward.
I mean, do you see Josh Allen as an alien?
This is football. Like, we're all grown men.
It's an opportunity for the world to see that we're going to keep fighting, and this is who we are. And when the Bengals walk on the field, you're going to get our best shot.
Appreciative of the efforts in game. It didn't start off the way we would like in terms of fluidity. We weren't converting 3rd downs there early on, but the guys found their traction. I appreciate the defense providing some short fields and some splash.
Reminded of Sir Andrew Barton. Fight on, my men, Sir Andrew said. I'm a little wounded but not slain. I'll lay down and bleed a while, and we'll rise and fight again.
Yes, Jim Harbaugh nailing the dismount. I've got some more useless sound for you from basketball.
Bonus.
Here is Sacramento Kings coach Mike Brown being fully useless 26 times.
We just need to be methodical by stacking or playing the right way, possession after 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 possession. You guys got what I'm saying, right?
No.
I
more time.
thought it was AI. I thought it was. I didn't believe that was a real.
Iverson?
That I didn't believe that was a real thing that had happened. I'm figuring that if you're going to go all in on that, why stop? Like why stop it? Why stop at
just
26?
Keep doing it until they walk out.
Yeah, just keep doing it until the press conference ends. Like stand up, keep doing it as you walk out of the room. Just end the press conference that way.
This is the kind of thing that I was known for doing as a child. My parents always tell me the story of one time we were on a road trip and I kept repeating the same song from like summer camp and singing it to my sister in the back seat, and my parents in the front seat were like, just ignore her. She's going to shut up if you ignore her. Don't yell at her. She'll keep doing it. And I said, oh, you want to bet? So then I sang the song all the way from like the Kentucky-Ohio border to like Tennessee for like 45 minutes. And my parents and my sister wanted to murder me.
A singing tribute to your stubbornness, basically.
Exactly.
Right?
I was like, I bet I can outlast you with my annoyingness.
Yes.
Beyond your wildest expectations. And yeah, nothing has changed since then. I'm still super, super annoying and stubborn.
Speaking of which, let's go out to Jeremy. Nothing more fun than hearing Jeremy enjoy being right. Jeremy is doing the Wicked Green Witch of the West as part of his punishments here, I'm assuming. I don't even know what.
Punishment.
It's not a punishment.
Not a punishment. I don't think he even picks teams. I think he just likes dressing up.
The Bills lost.
He does. That's true. So what are you doing a victory lap about? What did you get right?
I got right what was going to happen with the UCF Knights, Dan. And before we get to that victory lap, I know Roy has some info on this Peloton victory lap.
Yes, this victory lap is brought to you by Peloton. Find your push, find your power with Peloton.
So Dan, yes, I am dressed as Elphaba from Wicked, and if you were wondering, yes, everything, and I mean everything is green. But UCF
wasn't wondering.
UCF.
Nobody was wondering.
Remember when I went up
Nobody was
to the UCF Colorado
Nobody
game?
was thinking about
and
your
you
dick,
guys,
Jeremy.
you guys didn't pay me to go up, but I went up anyway and made a bunch of content. And at the end of that content, I was really upset that UCF had lost the game, and I was the first person on the Fire Gus train. But I also said something else that the video team has prepared.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this because I'm on the sideline, but Fire Gus.
Bring back Scott Frost. Bring back. They're all saying it with me. Show them. Bring back Scott Frost. So, what eventually happens? That was September 28th. What happens now in mid-December? Well, we're here, and what did UCF do? Listen to me and bring back Scott Frost as the head coach. I also tweeted on October 1st that their offensive coordinator under Scott Frost should be Mackenzie Milton. And hey, what happened yesterday? Mackenzie Milton gets hired as the quarterback coach for UCF. Dan, UCF is back, and they're back because they listened to me. I am the biggest voice in sports media representing UCF, which doesn't mean much. I know that. But my opinions, my beliefs have now been accessed.
It's a long victory lap.
That's what it's supposed to be, though.
And pushed.
He's supposed
by
to get tired.
The UCF administration, Terry Mahajer, listened to everything I had to say, and he knows that I, more than anyone, can defy gravity.
All right. Congratulations, Jeremy. Not surprising that this entire show would be a tribute in some ways to your narcissism. I thought that Pablo Torre was the most narcissistic person that we have here at the network. But, Billy, you've seen how everything that's been Jeremy related today has been an inception of his narcissism, where it's just Jeremy throwing it to sound of Jeremy, or Jeremy throwing it to the face of Jeremy, or Jeremy being self-involved about Jeremy.
Today has been a picture of Jeremy when his teeth was taken out. We showed that to a guest. Then we saw a video of him predicting a coach would get fired, a tweet of himself, and then he sang a song.
That sounds like the entirety of the Jeremy
And he mentioned his
experience. And he did. And all of a sudden, he has a green penis, which was strange.
He didn't talk about the Heat, so it was a win.
Yes, a win for
I'll
everybody.
take it, actually.
Yes,
And we weren't at the whiteboards.
We all will take it. Ken Rodgers.
The gambler, huh?
This is not Kenny Rodgers.
Gotta know when to hold up.
No. I need to introduce the guest. Nobody knows why I mentioned Ken Rodgers. Okay, you just wanted to get to your gambling joke so you could leave.
I wanted
for
to talk
God
to Ken
bless
Rodgers.
Football. Okay, you're leaving. You don't
No one
want
to walk away, Dano.
No one to fold him. Yes. Thank you for your help, Stugotz. Appreciate all your good work on the show.
Hi, Ken.
God bless football, Monday through Friday. Can I introduce Ken Rodgers, not Kenny Rodgers, so I can tell the audience who the hell he is, instead of you just singing a song by Kenny Rodgers. He's an NFL films producer and director. He's had nearly 20 years of Hard Knocks under his belt. 4 teams are being followed for the first time. Hard Knocks is streaming on Max, and we're basically just doing this for Jessica because she's the one around here who is mainlining all of the Hard Knocks. And one of the reasons I want to talk to Ken Rodgers is because, Ken, if we were to go through all of the footage that were not allowed by the NFL or the teams, how great would this show really be beyond how great it already is? It's plenty great the way it is, but if you could put everything on air that you guys have that's in the vault of all the secrets, how great would that show be?
I think you would love it. I think the general fan would be a little bored. I think people overrate how exciting a facility is, whether it's training camp or even in season. It's a lot of looking at a board, looking at the plays, going over another play, going over yet another scenario. If you love the intricacies of football, you might love it more than another person. As far as the real juicy stuff, a lot of that makes the show. These guys are pretty serious, especially in season. You know, joking around in training camp is one thing, but in season, all 4 of these camps, you can tell that the division is on the line or their pride is on the line, jobs are on the line. It's pretty serious there. So you might get a lot of insight, but you have to really love football to love it, the bonus material.
Do the owners ask for final edit, final cut? How much power do you give them?
No, I mean, this is a collaboration always, so they know what's in the show, and we're very careful to not give away competitive secrets. So there's a lot of that sort of discussion of that play that you heard. We can't show that, especially in division. We can't hear that play call because we're going to use it. That being said, the sensitive stuff is pretty unremarkable when it comes to the personality stuff. You see the best stuff. Owners don't really get involved. I'm not sure that any of them have necessarily watched the show beforehand, even in season. I think they sort of watch with everybody else. It's definitely a football-driven show, personality-driven show. It's a workplace drama.
Have you ever had somebody from any team complain about what they seen on the show, and had they take it out the show?
No. Sometimes afterwards, we all regret things. I'll tell you the best example, and it's so famous, is Rex Ryan's got to go get a snack, right? So we got that and we put it on, and we were like, this is great because he's so vehement, and it was taken out of context by a lot of people then that, oh, Rex is overweight. Rex wants to go get a cookie. Oh, let's go get a snack. Actually, it was just next on their schedule, and people forget, like, that's what happens on a team is you have a team meeting, and then literally on the schedule it says snack. So I think they regretted, like, boy, that became a big thing. There's a lot of things that become memeable that weren't intended that way, and there's nothing you can do and go back. And I know what you're going to probably ask. You're probably going to say, well, have teams regretted it? Not many teams after they're on have ever expressed one iota of, boy, we wish we didn't do that. I think they realize that it's good for them and for their fan base.
Well, I have a bunch of questions, but first, I'm a Steelers fan,
away.
and I get the sense that Mike Tomlin has put on this front that he doesn't want the cameras to be there, but then when I'm watching the show, I'm like, I think he kind of secretly really loves this. What is your sense from working with him on the Steelers stuff?
I think he knows how to send a message, and I think he's embracing the message without letting it disrupt the team, and that's what the very best coaches on Hard Knocks have done. He's not about to act differently. He's not going to be quiet in a meeting because our camera's there. He's not going to all of a sudden let his team see him clam up or play to the cameras more. He's going to be himself. So he's been a great example of being himself, allowing it to exist, and not letting it distract. I think the more you worry about what am I doing on television, the worse it would get. And luckily, after a day or two, everyone in the organization is kind of relaxed and go, oh, I get it. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, now he's just being himself. My favorite part of the in-season Hard Knocks has been all of the archival footage that NFL Films has. And like 15 years ago, my boyfriend was actually an intern at NFL Films and used to log all the footage. So I know there's like just...
So he knows all the secrets.
Oh, yeah. He knows. He wears his NFL Films stuff everywhere and gets compliments on it everywhere he wears it. And I will be stealing that hat one day, Lee. But anyways, I love all of the archival, AFC North divisional footage because there's so many iconic moments from those rivalries. So how much fun was it going back and putting together all of the sort of archival montages that are in each episode?
Yeah, you really realize the depth of history, and we haven't even gotten into the Paul Browns of it and all, but I think the best example was really this week when we sort of rediscovered, some of us knew, but rediscovered that the Steelers logo comes from Cleveland. And it was like, wow, like there's a lot of history here. And I bet a large percentage of Pittsburgh fans heard that and said, wait, what? Our logo came from Cleveland? Like, to heck with that. I'm amazed at how much history there is between these teams. Of course, the North, the AFC North isn't that old, but the old division that they played in, it's just been so much hatred. And I think it's because of the proximity. And what you see in this show is when they play each other, holy cow, it's up to another level. And that's where we've sort of created these cinematic game openings when they play each other. It's just at another step up in intensity for everybody on both teams.
There's this thing called Marvel fatigue. The MCU plays a lot of movies every year, and people are getting tired of watching them. There have been a lot of episodes of Hard Knocks. Are you afraid of Hard Knocks fatigue?
I used to be. I used to say Steve Sable would say it too. Well, we got to be reaching the end here, right? Like there's a bubble. The great thing is that every year, every team is different. And although the basic structure of a training camp or an off season or an in season is kind of the same, everyone's situation is so different. We're so blessed as storytellers in the NFL that when one person retires, when Tom Brady retires and we can no longer tell his story on a day-to-day basis, here comes Joe Burrow. Week 7, what are we going to do? No, here comes Jameis Winston. Like, the revolving storylines are so great that I don't think we'll ever get bored of Hard Knocks.
All I keep thinking about is the sack exchange and Mark Gastineau going after
I
Brett
knew that was going to come up.
Sure.
I knew it.
How was I not going to ask when we're dealing with Gastineau? If he, does he have something against you? Is he coming back at you 10 years after sack
What's the
exchange?
backstory? What's the back? You guys know what you're talking about. The audience might not know what you're talking about with Gastineau.
Mark Gastineau, former member of the sack exchange New York Jets, has a little beef with Brett Favre from decades ago. Our esteemed guest directed a movie called The Sack Exchange.
Nobody knows that. You know that. He knows that. You have not told anybody that he's directed 6 30 for 30 films. He's directed
9.
Belichick and Saban. The Art of Coaching for HBO. You did Bill Belichick, A Football Life, dozens of film projects. Now ask the question, David.
You've completely ruined it, but here we go. Hey, Ken, just out of curiosity, are you scared of Mark Gastineau given your resume?
Mark is a great guy who has a lot of passion about how he feels. I think if I were in a room with him, I could both be charmed and find him very empathetic, which I do. And I could also fear that he might kick my butt because he's able to kick anybody's butt still. The New York Sack Exchange film that airs Friday, was quite an experience to walk in side by side with Mark Gastineau. I know the Brett Favre clip came out yesterday, but there's so much more to the story and these 4 guys that, I haven't gotten a call yet from Mr. Gastineau, but if I do it, I might conveniently, put my phone down.
A couple of fill in the blank questions as quick as you can go. The coach who has wanted you around least is blank.
Oh, geez. I don't have an answer to that.
Not Mike Tomlin?
No.
None of them really want you around, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think here's the thing with coaches. This isn't a quick answer. The coaches want everything to just stay the same every day. So, yeah, they don't want any change. So why don't I say everybody? Every coach does.
The most interesting story I think we've told in our history is blank, the team.
The 2001 New England Patriots.
The most surprised I have been by an individual success story was blank.
Ryan Leaf and his recovery.
The most heartbroken I've been by something that we have filmed is blank.
Every player that gets cut on Hard Knocks.
Oh, sweet.
Why do you do it that way? Why do you what?
Players get cut.
Okay.
You can't be emotional about it when you're making movies. When
Heartless.
you're doing
Christ
no, but Ken is in
heartless.
front of
Come
players
on,
all the time. Ken.
I sing country ballads in the shower. In the shower, I sing country ballads, sad and cry after these things.
Ken, thank you for being on with us. We appreciate the insight and appreciate the work, sir.
All right, thanks for having me.
Juju, brother, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
It's good to see your face, man. I haven't seen you in a good long time, man.
You too, brother. Appreciate it, man. Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Tell the folks leave you alone about that vacation, bro. You can't remember, bro. You the cruise.
Yeah, man.
Tell them to lay off you, man.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. I mean, they're making fun.
You was in bliss with your family.
Yes, I was.
You can't remember.
Yes, I was. Yeah, man. I just staring at that water. That was it, man. I just relaxed.
Right.
All good. So
exactly.
Very happy about that.
Exactly.
Very rarely do I ever take a vacation, so.
Right.
And that's good.
I feel you.
And the fact of the matter is, I haven't been on a cruise since I was 9, and I haven't been near a boat since I was a longshoreman back in the early 2000s. So, yeah, I mean, being on that boat is like, wow.
I ain't never been on a cruise.
Never?
Because I know that if we get lost at sea, my ass is out of here. I cannot swim.
Yeah.
I always think Jaws going to be on my ass out there.
You know, I was thinking about when that Carnival ship got stuck out there in the Caribbean for, I don't know how long, was it almost a month? And they were stuck out there in the sea for a month. I'm like, please don't let this happen to me.
Yeah, I've been doo-dooing on myself every day.
Yeah, well, I think it was on the walls. I legit think there was shit on the walls in that ship. Like, it was bad.
Lord have mercy.
It was real bad. So, whew.
I thought that Juju Gotti had the most extreme of all the takes when everybody was talking about more rules, more forbidding of things. We can't have flag planting fights. And Juju was pretty reasonable about how about you just be disciplined and not get into a fight. But Nick Saban says the following when it comes to flag planting, and I'm going to put something in front of Juju that I'm reading that I'm not sure is real. I have to verify the source, but it sounds like it's real because everybody loves making rules that forbid people doing things in sports that are unsportsmanlike. So let's play this sound from Nick Saban real quick.
Well, first of all, I think we need guidelines, but I think to fine these schools $100,000 is like worrying about mouse manure when you're up to ears in elephant. All right, so, there's got to be, we got to have guidelines. All right, and I would be more upset with my team trying to plant the flag because I think that's disrespectful and doesn't show much sportsmanship.
I do enjoy that Nick Saban is one of the few people allowed to curse on Disney Air because he gets grandfathered in as legendary coach and no one says anything to him. But I don't know if On3 Sports, I'm just getting this information now, so you tell me whether On3 Sports is a credible website because they are saying that Ohio State Representative Josh Williams has introduced the Ohio Sportsmanship Act on Tuesday, and the act would make it a felony offense to plant a flag in the center of Ohio Stadium.
On3 is legit. So I don't know about the report, but On3 is a real reputable periodical, Dan.
All right, so there you go. Juju has objected to the forbidding of things, and now it has risen to a felony, Juju.
I can't believe this.
Guess what party that guy belongs to, by the way?
Oh, big shocker.
He is.
It doesn't matter what party he belongs to. He can belong to any party. This is ridiculous. This is a tad much, in my opinion. I'm not saying that anybody is wrong here. But, Lord, like, we're going to put a felony on your D1 athlete now? He going to the league, going to throw a felony on him now just because he beat Ohio State? Man, that's rough, man. That's like somebody suing in a rap battle. Like, that wouldn't make any sense, bruh. I don't get it.
Who would do that?
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show, please. Do me the favor, at Le Batard Show. Should it be a felony to flag plant in Ohio? I also have a quote here from, is this a Time Magazine piece on Caitlin Clark? I'm just getting this information now. Evidently, we've got some of the first really interesting quotes from Caitlin Clark as she matures into whatever her professional voice is going to be and gets used to whatever it is to have every single thing you have aggregated and turned into a political discourse, a gender discourse, a race discourse. So she says, quote, professional players and professional coaches, this is no disrespect to college women's basketball, are a lot smarter. I love women's college basketball, but if you go back and watch the way people guarded me in college, it's almost like concerning. Such a great word. They didn't double me. They didn't trap me. They weren't physical, and it's hard. It's college. A lot of those women will never go on to play another basketball game in their life. They don't have the IQ of understanding how the game works, so I completely understand it, and it's no disrespect at all. They don't have the IQ. You have to simplify it for girls at that age, end quote. When Amin said that watching the scheming of the championship game, people called him a misogynist for saying, hey, this is some rudimentary defense they're playing on Caitlin Clark. They've got to do some different things. What's your assessment here, Juju?
Yes, I agree. It's like that right there shows the importance of Caitlin Clark's voice. because you're right. We're in a taboo time where I don't feel comfortable bashing a WNBA player for having a lackluster game with the same. I don't feel the same comfort I would have by bashing James Harden for a bad game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there's something to that, and I'm glad she lended her voice to it because some change can actually come. And I agree, it do be feeling. It feels sticky when us men reporters be commenting with our loud voices on these women's issues. So I'm glad that my sister was able to vocalize that and show the power that she has in her voice.
What do you have for us in the way of critique, criticism, observation today, suggestions? Have people had their fill of Samson? It's always a little uncomfortable when we bring Samson around here. And right before we turn the microphones on, I heard you soothing poor Roy because we were vacation mocking him for just enjoying the bliss of his family and not remembering anything from just staring at the ocean for 4 days.
Right. My boy cut his brain off. That's what vacation is for. I don't know where I was. My wife booked it. I was on Saint-Tropez. I don't know if I was in Texas, man. My wife said be here at a certain time. She said, wear these trunks, and I wore them. I don't know. But, yeah, man, I think I don't know how this slipped to today, Wednesday. I have a Joker of the Week. I'm going to just go ahead and throw it out there. Marcus Freeman, you, sir, are the Joker of the week.
Oh, do they have video of this? Do they have video? Did you tell anybody in video?
I did not.
Oh, my God.
I
okay.
did not.
So wait a minute. You guys have got to get the video here. Marcus Freeman did a very poor job. This is the worst Beijing since Boozer, right? We're looking at a real horror video. Find this as fast as you can because Juju is giving you some content here that we have not talked about. This is a beautiful man. He is known as being hot. What happened to his hair game here?
Right, brother. That Beijing was follow the drip. Like, I ain't never seen a wet Beijing before. Like, what is going on, brother? You were blessed with the gift of bone structure, and you throw it right back in God's face when you smear that wet lacquer across your face, brother. Don't do that, brother. Like he said, Ricardo Boozer turn over his damn grave watching you do this, man. Come on, y'all. Get it together, Notre Dame.
All right, we're going to get both at some point here during this commentary by you, Juju. We're going to get up on YouTube both the video of Boozer and the video of Marcus Freeman.
I just saw a photo of Marcus Freeman, and I had to go searching for another because I assumed the one I saw was enhanced. There's
it's
wait,
amateur. I don't
that's
understand.
what he looked like?
Please, Juju, explain to me how he's allowed to leave the house this way, how it is, what the conversation is like with his barber, how he's not wearing a hat here. Explain to me how he can do any of this.
This is why you need honesty within your friendships, brother. Like, we done got to this age where everything we say to our friends be so offensive and we need to have some people set up in our lives that can have a 100% honesty with us, brother. And I know you don't have them because if you have anybody who loves you and cares for your hairline, I know you got a beautiful wife and a beautiful family. I'm just joking at them. But they would not let you come out the house like this. Please refer to your barber. And like you said earlier, brother, you are a handsome brother. You don't need this. You don't put a bumper sticker on the Ferrari. And so you don't put black lacquer on the Notre Dame playoff coach. I love you, Jessica Smetana. I love you, Mike Golick Jr. and your daddy. But please, somebody grab a hold of Marcus Freeman, point him to the closest barber, and just pray for him. Just push him.
Yeah, and
push
Dan
him that way.
Can't wear a hat because you wear a hat, the hat's going to get screwed and messed up because of all that Beijing in his hair.
Juju, what is the conversation with your barber after that? What is like? You cannot go back to that barber, can you? Even if that is a lifetime barber, you cannot go back to that person if they let you leave the shop looking like that.
You just put that joker on Do Not Disturb because in the hood, it's hard to break up with the barbers in the hood. That's definitely a bit no. So you just try somebody else out until you find them, but you don't contact that barber. Don't send him nothing. Don't bother him because that's just a no. Don't say nothing to him. Just leave him alone now. Run, Marcus Freeman. I'm not sure where's Notre Dame again? Is that in Indiana?
Where is he from? South Bend, Indiana.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He need to bring his personal barber on the road.
I see what you're saying. You're saying, put it on the poll, please. Is it hard to get the right Beijing in South Bend, Indiana? You think he
there
went?
It is. There it is.
You think what happened there is there's just some culture shock? He went to a local barber. He went over there. They didn't have some culture, and they slapped something on his head. The local white barber did that.
No.
Yep.
Dan. You got to go to Gary, Indiana to get that done.
All right.
You feel me? Just like Dennis Schroeder. When Dennis Schroeder first came in the league, he was not prepared. And then he got with my brother. He came into the house and got with my brother Kill Bill. Salute. Got his line looking fantastic.
Juju,
salute to all barbers.
Juju, I did not think that in my career I would see shoe polish worse than what Boozer had on his head. Are you willing to say that Marcus Freeman, and we say this in the most loving fashion possible, has a bad enough Beijing that Carlos Boozer gets knocked off of the Hall of Fame on bad public sporting Beijings? You're saying yes. Wow.
Yes, sir.
You're saying this is worse than the historic Boozer.
This takes the cake, brother. Marcus Freeman, you have kicked down the barriers, and you have uprose to the top of the mountain, brother. I'm giving it to you, brother. Marcus Freeman, hats off.
Congratulations.
Don't take your hat off.
A historic.
Matter of fact, hats on.
Congratulations.
Hats on to Marcus Freeman for ruining Handsome by doing that very poorly. What else do you have for us today? What a delightful surprise to be reminded of Carlos Boozer's Beijing. What else you got for us, Juju?
David Sampson earlier, you mentioned it. He doesn't germaphobe the way I germaphobe because I'm a real deal. I can't play it. He grabbed the microphone with his right hand, switched it, put it to his left hand, took the right hand, grabbed a jelly bean and put it in his mouth on national television. And that's just not how I germaphobe. I don't care if that microphone is brand new. No. So I think his germaphobe pedigree took a hit today.
Wow. So are you alleging that you are more of a germaphobe than Samson? We're just learning this or I didn't know that about you. You are somebody who is super careful. Juju, you must be regularly disgusted by all of the people in our environment if you're a germaphobe. I've got a bunch of people who are bad at general hygiene.
You don't remember how mad Juju was at me when I put my finger in my mouth at that Heat game? He was furious for weeks.
Yes, I do remember that, but I didn't know that you were level Samson germaphobe.
Yeah, I'm level further than that, and it aggravates all of my friends, my relationships. I'm so sorry, baby. I love you. I know you can hear this, but yeah, bro, I'm still like, okay. You know what? We listen and we don't judge. I still wipe my groceries off with the sanitizing wipes when I get them from the grocery store.
Yeah, you're extra excessive clean. It's okay that you're that's probably a little annoying to the people who love you, but lovely that you're that clean. Like
you feel me?
A lovely person to be around that you would be that. If you're that careful around germs for yourself, then everyone who is in your circle also gets to avoid most germs. Most disgusting. Unfortunately, that's not where I work. These people are foul, and David Sampson just touched a microphone that Greg Cody's dirty lips have been on.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I once got COVID in that chair next to Roy. I'm a germaphobe. I got COVID in that studio. So, yes, it is a wild, wild west out here. But also, I like to I'm going to move on. I'm going to lay off of David Sampson. I love you, brother, wherever you are, if you can hear me. You guys were talking about OBJ at the end of the show today, and do you think he's ashamed of where he is right now at this point where one target, he looks at the stat line? I think after he looks at that stat line, he looks directly at his bank account, and I think he's instantly over it because anybody with his position, like his injuries are stuff catastrophic. You don't come back from them. And he done came back from them. And I think that him being able to be a professional athlete living in Miami, that's the cha-ching right now because he understood what he signed up for. He understood, and dare I say, you put Odell Beckham Jr.'s rings in the box and you put Dan Marino's rings in the box, +1. But neither here nor there.
Juju, thank you for being on with us. Good seeing you. We'll talk to you tomorrow, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man, that's my face again.
No.